Welcome back to the Sports Cage. I appreciate you making the time. I'm Teagan Witko here with your voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Mr. Dave Thomas. Of course, Colson Schultz on the controls, keeping us on the air, 620 CKRM. Also on the stream, which you can follow along with on sportscage.com, our YouTube channels, socials as well. Hope you had a great weekend. Lots to dive into here as we're coming off week 8 in the CFL. It's also Shark Week. Do people still get fired up about that, Dave? Have you ever been a Shark Week guy?
Like, how long has this been going? 20 years? Like maybe 19 and a half ago I was.
In this day and age, I feel like if you really want to watch shark content, you can find it anywhere. Doesn't matter what the week is.
True.
So I don't know if that's really as big of a deal as it used to be, but I'm curious.
Well, when it was hosted, I mean, it still may be, so that shows you how out of the loop I am. When it was hosted by Ian Ziering from Beverly Hills 90210.
That's a throwback.
I'm in.
Okay.
I was in, but now, I don't know.
If you want to see things getting ripped apart in water, I guess this is the week for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fair.
By Shaq a few years ago. That was fun.
I don't know if your mic is on, but you said it was hosted by who?
My mic was down, yeah.
Okay.
It was hosted by Shaq a few years ago. That was fun.
See, I could find that being fun. If you were to put it on like the Ocho, like ESPN, one of those channels, and get some really good commentators on there, it could be highly entertaining.
Yeah.
That's the kind of television I'm here for. I like it. Well, happy Shark Week to all those who celebrate.
And the big volleyball tournaments on the weekend. Or dodgeball, pardon me.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball was
If you can dodge a
Ocho.
wrench, you can dodge a ball.
There you go.
That was also on TV this weekend. I might have dabbled in that a little bit.
Wow. Look at you.
You know what? A classic is a classic.
Look at you.
You can't go wrong. All of our guests are going to be joining us today on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. By the way, perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Here's who we have lined up today, gentlemen. Emmarae Dale is going to join us. Women's Football Development Director with Football Saskatchewan. So the U18 Female National Championships are happening in Regina this week. I do believe they wrap up on Wednesday. So there was quite a few games that took place over the weekend. And man, is it a grind for those football players because they only play half games, but you're playing 2 a day.
I know football's all about preparation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of preparation that you put in. Saskatchewan did not have an easy route at all, taking on a couple of powerhouses in the first two games, but wraps up tomorrow, Leibel Field, the 28th.
And there have been some lopsided finals here. I mean, I'm looking at specifically Ontario. What was this over the weekend? I want to say maybe it was Friday. 64-0 Ontario over Manitoba.
In a half. Yeah.
In half a game.
In a half.
Oh, man. Although, that being said, that same day, Saskatchewan did beat Manitoba 36-0. So that was their first win of the tournament there, which is exciting to see. So we'll chat with Emmarae Dale a little bit later on this hour. So she's going to join us right around 3:30. She'll join us live in studio. Now, we also have JC Abbott that's going to hop on with us today of 3downnation.com. Man, is there ever a lot to discuss coming off this last week of the CFL. And, of course, we're going to tee up week 9.
Absolutely.
A rematch for the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Edmonton Elk, which I think is going to be a very interesting contest.
We're going to have a conversation about this whole grammar and elk thing.
I'm dying on this hill, man.
Really?
Yeah, I'm dying on the hill. If you even listen to the Rider Broadcast Network, the entire game that you called with Luke Mullender up in the booth at Mosaic Stadium, I never once heard him say Elks.
He will not. He refuses.
I know. Because he's right.
You're not going to see the Edmonton Elk play. You're going to see the Edmonton Elks play.
No.
Like, they call themselves the Elks.
Why don't we just...
It would be like me saying, okay, you would prefer to go by Teague instead of Teagan. So it'd be like everybody then should call you Teague because that's what you prefer. So it may not be great in spelling or grammar circles, but
this is
that's
actually
the precedent.
This is going to completely contradict everything I just said. People call me Teagues.
Okay.
My friends, my family, they call me Teagues.
The only way this
Teague.
could have gone worse is somehow if the CFL Replay Center interjected in this conversation. That's the only way this thing could have gone worse. Sorry, that was cheap. That was cheap.
We'll dive into that throughout the show today as well. Holy smokes. Yeah, so JC Abbott going to be joining us. We're going to dive into the CFL as we always do. A Riders Coaches show, that's not going to be taking place today. It's an off day for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, so you can look forward to that conversation with one of the Riders coaches, with Barney, a little bit later on this week. As always, we will have your clutch performer as well. We also, let me see here, we got Crofty that's going to join us, your sprinkle of the day. Might have to look forward a little bit here into week 9 in the CFL for that one. Darian Durant, as always, joins us on Mondays just after 5 o'clock. And I am very curious to hear what he has to say about that offensive pass interference call and what he saw in the Riders Elk game.
Yeah, I'm also very curious. You know, like Cody Fajardo just had one of those nights. Everything was going, right?
Yeah.
Like anything that may have been mediocre was good, and anything that was good was excellent. You know what I mean? Like everything was on. And I'm just curious, like, and get into that flow? Do you feel it? Like a baseball pitcher, right? They'll have their stuff working for them, right? Cody Fajardo had everything working for him. And so do you get to a point in a game where it's like, this is just child's play. It's all working. Because it seemed to happen that way for Cody last week.
Well, and it had to be extra satisfying for Cody when you're facing your former team.
Oh, for sure. There's still a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny part was when he hit that south end zone upright yet again, right? A la the West Final.
Yeah.
And then he gets the crowd going, like, yeah, just give it to me. Like, I there's nothing I can do about it.
Same end zone, same post.
Yeah.
Similar play, not the exact same play.
Yeah.
But you could feel that in the building. Everyone just started laughing. Cody included. You kind of have to at that point because you can't write that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it on social media. His wife, Laura, put out the silent video. Kids are in bed, right? So you can't cheer, but when that 57-yarder by Vincent Blanchard goes through the uprights.
You know what? As much as it's, a tough pill to swallow for Saskatchewan Roughrider fans, you have to admit that was a shootout of a game and so wildly entertaining to watch. That was just great football. All in all, 36-34 win for the Elk over the Riders, which, again, I know if you're rocking your Obsidian or green and white, you don't like to see that final result, but especially everything that they came off of that week, an emotional game, it was still highly entertaining CFL football.
It was. And the best part of all is that anything that happened is correctable this week. And you don't have to sit there and stew on it for weeks or months at an end before you see that team again. You get to flip it around and away you go. I think that's a big advantage.
Well, but they're going to be watching a ton of tape this week. So is it more about the offensive success on the other side of the field or the defensive concerns for the Saskatchewan Roughriders? What are you looking at? If you're in that coaching room, what's the highest priority there? What are you dissecting? And that's what I'm curious to see.
I think that the communication, I think, is probably one of the things they're going to talk about. Like, what did you see on this play? Because there were obviously some breakdowns that occurred, right? And what led to those breakdowns? Was it formation? Was it just lack of communication and assignment? That's what will be looked at.
When the opposing quarterback throws for over 500 yards, there's going to be some things to look at with the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was funny because the team said the right things last week, right? Talking about how Josh Woods has got bragging rights because he's got the only interceptions on the team this year. And there were a couple of opportunities to be sure, but there was also some key moments in that football game that kind of had some people scratching their head. Like a fumble that maybe was a fumble or wasn't a fumble on a punt return, the offensive pass interference call, right? Like those are a couple. And trust me, there are both ways, right? Like there's times that the Elks had a case for defensive pass interference, right? So,
absolutely.
I'm not blaming the officials by any means because I would not go down.
Well, some are.
Some are, absolutely. And you know what? That's great. The great part about sport is you can have that conversation.
Right.
But end of the day, again, you could say, well, had the Riders won that challenge for the fumble, they could have challenged the offensive pass interference.
Justin Rankin is still going to be a conversation, I believe, within the Saskatchewan Roughrider dressing room, right? Because, they were able to limit him, but it's still Justin Rankin, right? His vision, his speed, his ability to make plays, he's a problem.
Well, you know what? He influenced the game. Absolutely, he influenced the game. And you're gonna say, what? Like, you're crazy. But everyone talked about the 1K pace that he was on, right? And he was held to 39 yards on 12 carries. So you do the quick math, it's just over 3 yards a carry. but his influence in the play action pass game allowed some of those long bomb passes to help, right? So if at first I wondered, are the Elks going to be concerned that Justin Rankin really back-to-back weeks is under 50 yards in 2 games combined, right, on average? Like, so under 100 yards in 2 games. I'm like, are they going to be concerned about that? And I'm like, no, the passing game's okay. And they're not concerned about his individual numbers right now.
Nope. I think defenses, they're starting to figure him out. I think that's what it's really boiling down to, is you're watching enough of this tape now that we're 8 weeks into the season, and they're starting to find ways to slow them down. And I mean, the BC Lions were kind of the first ones to figure that out, right? When it comes to the Saskatchewan Roughrider defense, though, the return of Roland Milligan Jr., Agent Zero, as he's so affectionately referred to here in Rider Nation, back in the lineup this past game. Now, what did you see in him? Because I know there was only one defensive tackle recorded, but I think ultimately he was flying all over the field here, and it was a good addition to see him back in the lineup for the green and white.
His presence makes others around him better.
He's a leader.
Yeah. So the confidence that was instilled, I think, was good. The execution by the secondary wasn't as good, which they're going to, again, go back to the drawing board. And you maybe in this instance, you tip your hat a little bit to the Edmonton Elks. Of course, if it happens back-to-back weeks, then it's a concern. But Roland Milligan Jr., I thought, was sensational. You could see his presence all over the field. And just when quarterbacks look and see that Roland Milligan Jr. is in that zone or on that man and they change their course of action, that's huge. And there were 2 very obvious plays that I thought, one in the second quarter and one in the latter stages of the fourth quarter was like, oh, we're not going to go there. Mm-hmm. So, big.
It was a 1-score game. Ultimately, it was a shootout. It was very back and forth. I mean, when you look at the stat sheet on this and you think to yourself, man, it was only a 2-point difference, that is setting the stage for an absolutely incredible matchup at Commonwealth Stadium this Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. I think it might be the marquee matchup of the week yet again. Or am I wrong? Is there a better matchup you're looking forward to?
No, I think that's the one. There's others that have some interesting implications. BC taking on Winnipeg this week is going to be big for the BC Lions because they are fading fast in the West. And again...
And Caden Salter going to be starting for the BC Lions in this one.
He came on in relief of Chase Bryce against Toronto.
Right.
To me, what happened was the body language of Chase Bryce is the one that kind of put up the alert tones for me, and the fact that hanging the head, and there were times where his eyes were just huge, right? Not maybe sure of what he was or wasn't seeing. And I think I don't know that it's desperation time for the BC Lions, but it's awful close. You know one team in the West doesn't get in for sure.
Yeah.
And we've passed the 3rd poll of the season. So again, you don't want to get too far behind too fast. And right now in the West, who do you look like you're going to catch? I think that probably you set your sights right now on Winnipeg, no?
I mean, at this point, yeah, but they've been looking a bit better. They're starting to figure it out.
The whole West Division looks different pending the outcome at Edmonton this week, though.
That's
the
very
Elks start
true.
running away with it, or the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Elks are right up there with Calgary coming up quick after a slow start.
Calgary's been fun to watch. VA is absolutely explosive at this point. So I'm very curious to see how they can move ahead this week. What stood out to you with Calgary this week?
Calgary this week, I like
their defense.
The defense, the defense was pretty darn good. They draw Hamilton, of course, this week, right? But watching that game against Winnipeg, like Winnipeg, they got sparks and they got plays, and end of the day, Drew Brown throws 4 interceptions, right? Like, you can't do that and expect to win. And I was curious what Winnipeg might be thinking when it comes to Drew Brown. Now, Zach Caleros is going to be out, and he is on the 6th game, right? So he's not coming back. So, but for me, Calgary, just their ability to score any which way, like whether it's a return touchdown, whether it's you're going to see, again, run, pass. Their offense seems to do it all. The defense still did give up 30 points, but that defensive line is oh so good.
Well, and one other thing that stood out in that game this weekend between Winnipeg and Calgary, McAllister. I believe, okay, so first player CFL history to record a receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, and kick return touchdown in the same game.
We saw him firsthand McMahon Stadium. Remember, he returned that kick, pardon me, as well against the Riders. So phenomenal athlete. He's got great vision, like really good vision, and he seems to find that little hole, and then he's able to go 0 to 60 quick and get going. So yeah, the Calgary Stampeders are still missing their top receiver. They've been missing him for over a year now, in Reggie Begelton. And when he comes back, I don't know where you put him into the lineup, because not only do you have him coming back, the team re-signed Damon Alford, who of course they drafted first overall back in 2025. Yeah, last year. So he's coming back after an NFL
dangerous
workout. Plus in the stable, they've got Joe, who's serving his 6-game suspension right now.
How many more games is left on that? Is he going to be back? I want to say it's only 1 or 2 weeks left. I need to fact check that.
I was going to say it was 3.
3?
I think he served half.
Okay.
But so you've got Alford, you've got Begelton, you've got Joe, and you've got them sitting there in the stable, right? And you still have a pretty good lineup of receivers. Like, to me, that's the scary part right now with Calgary, is that their offense is going to be bolstered by some great receivers. You got Dedrick Mills at running back, who very well could lead the league again, right over 1,400 yards rushing last year alone. Like Calgary is formidable, and they're young, right? Almost as young as the Elks, but not quite as young.
The Elk?
Elks.
Okay.
Hey, people are agreeing on the whole nickname, right? So Elks is a nickname, and this throws out the rules. Do you say the Toronto Maple Leaf? Just saying.
Leaves.
Sid from Lumsden.
Yes, Sid. You're kind of calling me out here, but we could technically call them the Leaves.
You could, but nobody does. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's still dumb. I'll call them the Double E. Let's go back to that.
There's a lot of people in Edmonton that would prefer you do that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess when we start diving into the conversation around the name.
It's really interesting.
That's controversial.
Really interesting, the marketing around this game.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people from outside the Edmonton Elks organization that are suggesting that, okay, you said that you weren't coming because of the name, so now we're going with Double E, right, from the change from Eskimos to Elks.
You said you weren't coming because their record wasn't good. Look at them now.
Winning. Yeah. So what's the excuse on a Saturday night at 5 o'clock in Edmonton? And I don't know if I subscribe to that brand of marketing, like the put your money where your mouth is, but there is a lot and should be a lot of excitement around the Edmonton Elks.
Here's hoping they don't have another storm roll through Commonwealth Stadium. Did you see the videos? Post Malone was in Edmonton this weekend. Yeah. Some of the footage that I saw coming out of there, torrential downpour. It looked like there was almost a tornado outside.
Oh.
So they had all of the fans sheltering in place on the concourse. And I think Post Malone maybe came out and played, 2-3 sones, something like that?
2 songs. And then he said, they're telling me I have to leave the stage. I'm like, good call. Good call.
Might be a good idea.
Did you see the hail afterwards? I saw pictures of the hail, and it's like filling your fist, like massive.
Well, it was a hail of a storm, I'll tell you that.
Oh, Dave. I don't want to talk about hail. My car is still so dinged up from the hailstorm that we got here about. We were talking about this before we even came on air. It's been such a mess around to just try to get my vehicle in because everywhere is so busy.
Yeah, your car is going to be on the injured list till 2028, I understand. That's terrible
allegedly.
News. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I don't love that.
Quickly jumping back to Joe. Calgary signed him July 1st, which is a day before Week 5 started.
Okay.
So technically, I think he's got 2 weeks left. But
not to say I was right.
You're doing a lot of math there, Colson. We're doing a lot of math. But yeah, that they did sign him just before, and that first game did count.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember which day that was. But yeah.
That'll be an interesting reaction to see how the fans take to Joe returning to the CFL.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so we're going to talk a lot more football as the afternoon goes on. Because I know we want to get our guest on here very shortly, but we should also quickly mention here Major League Baseball. We're going to get to your Red Sox report with Dante De Caria later on in the WCBL. We really only have a week and a little bit left to go in the WCBL regular season. Those Regina Red Sox are making a push for the playoffs here. But as we look at Major League Baseball, 1 week away from the MLB trade deadline, and I know that Gosman has come out from the Toronto Blue Jays, of course, and he said he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave. They have 6 games before the deadline, so a 3-game stint in Washington beginning tonight. Scherzer's going to be starting that one in the series opener on his 42nd birthday, mind you. But what do you think happens with the Toronto Blue Jays and Gausman? Because at this point, I think the general consensus is the Jays are just going to have to sell the farm at this point.
I don't know that they sell the farm, but if your contract is due, like Kevin Gausman, unless you're going to get him to sign a contract extension,
free agent in the offseason, right?
Which is not going to happen because of the pending MLB labor strife that is anticipated to arrive.
Why you got to be so negative?
Well, no, I'm just stating facts. Like, if I'm a player, I'm not signing.
That's fair.
However, some guys, like some of the younger players, may sign, right? So that they have some guaranteed income during what could be a prolonged labor disruption. But if I'm Kevin Gausman, I don't know that I would be quick to re-sign with the Jays. And if I'm the Jays, I just can't let him walk. I got to get something back.
Yeah.
Like, even throw in Davis Schneider and you might get, a couple of bucks for the souvenir store. So.
A couple of bottle caps.
Yeah. I was asked on the weekend how it was brought up to me again. Why are you so down on Davis Schneider? And it's not that I'm down on Davis Schneider. It's just the Blue Jays' belief that he's an everyday player and that his bat is major league everyday player caliber scares me. And just, again, he didn't make adjustments to the plate. And again, it's not just Davis Schneider. There's a long list of guys, right? Like, you can point at Miles Straw and Nathan Lucas, and then you start bringing in some of the vets who are like George Springer, right, on the downside of his career. Just if you were hoping that those guys who had massive career years like Alejandro Kirk, if you're hoping that they were going to do that again this year, you're raising a lot of hope on guys that didn't have a proven track record, just had a great one-off season. Sorry.
There's going to be some interesting decisions that need to be made. Coulson. You know what? It's unfortunate. I don't think they're going to quite make the run that we saw from the Toronto Blue Jays last season, but you know what? That is baseball.
Yeah, true.
It's very difficult to get back to that position, and last year just felt kind of like that special year for the Jays. And I'm not saying that, they can't go on a late season run, but it would be very unlikely to see them go as deep.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they decide to do. Next Monday is the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. So might be some moves happening between now and then. We'll talk more about baseball as the afternoon goes on. This is the Monday installment of the Sports Cage, and it's brought to you by Sask Today, the voices of Saskatchewan. Visit Sask Today, Saskatchewan's leading online news, ag, and sports portal. It's like the newspaper from the old days, but without all the ink on your hands. We are going to take a quick break.
Oh, just 1 second. Sorry to jump in real quick. First of all, to confirm that Joe has 2 games remaining on his suspension, so he is eligible to return Thursday, August 13th against the BC Lions. And again, I was in jest making fun of the CFL Replay Center, but for those that were opposed to some of the calls of the Replay Center of late, just the one question that I have: do you think the CFL Replay Center review system has made the game better or worse? That's all I got to say. Done. I'm done interrupting now. I'm just leaving it there because that was posed to me after I said it again in jest. And so, is it better or worse?
Better? Worse? What do you think? 306-936-6262. That's the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Whatever you need, deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. They got everything from small power tools to skid steers. That's Prairie Land Rentals, 306-936-6262. You can also send in some questions if you want us to maybe possibly ask something to one of our guests throughout the afternoon. We can certainly take a peek at that. So 306-936-6262. Emmarae Dale, Women's Football Development Director for Football Saskatchewan, is standing by. So we will have Emmarae Dale join us here coming up next. It's a Sports Cage, and it's on the home of local sports. 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Yes, welcome back. It's the Monday installment of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Sask Today. I'm Teagan Witko here with Dave Thomas, and of course, Coulson Schultz keeping us on the air and on the stream. You can join in the conversation on our YouTube chat. You can always text us as well. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Joining us live in studio on the corner of 12th and Rose, Emmarae Dale, Women's Football Development Director of Football Saskatchewan. Well, thanks for making the time, peeling yourself away from Leibel Field.
Thanks so much for having me.
U18 female national championships taking place through tomorrow. So what has it been like down at Leibel Field? What's kind of the energy been?
Yeah, it's been a really fun tournament. Every team just gets better and better each tournament day. It's an interesting format because it's mini games, because there's only 5 teams. So you don't have they're like really fast paced, high intensity. You don't have a lot of time to settle in. So they've been really fun, exciting games, really close. It's just been pretty electric, honestly, down there. Yeah.
The messages to the players in terms of the coaching staff has to look a little bit different, because as you bring up the mini games aspect, Dave and I were just talking about this. I mean, a lot of football is preparation. So if you're facing two teams in one day, what does that look like for a player?
Yeah, no, it's pretty tough. You have to be super mentally tough because you have to be on the whole day. You know, it's different than, you know, just playing one game a day. You have one opponent. So yeah, they ask a lot of the players. There's some preparation. You kind of, depending on the timing, some teams are able to kind of sneak away. Most teams end up just staying at the field and kind of having a nutrition break at the field. And then it's, kind of just like talking about your next opponent and just, being able to roll with the punches.
Tell me about the formation of Team Saskatchewan at the U18 level. What was it like putting that group together? Yeah,
I mean, so we had a few selection camps kind of leading into it, and there's a girls football league. A lot of girls have been playing football already in Saskatchewan. We just kind of had a selection camp both in the north and south, in Saskatoon and Regina, and then teams are narrowed. The team is selected from there, and then there's a training camp leading into the tournament, and that's kind of it.
It's a lot of different athletes, I would assume, that have made up and comprise this team. And you mentioned the various experience levels. Is that the main differentiator between what you see perhaps in rural Saskatchewan to the cities, so on and so forth?
Yeah, for sure. It is a huge factor. Again, we see a lot more girls kind of in the southern area because there's more leagues and things running here, but we definitely are seeing a little bit of a transition of girls coming over from the flag side of things too, which is really exciting to see. And a few girls who have never actually played tackle football before this tournament, but are still like just killing it out there. So it's pretty awesome to see. Really exciting.
So Team Saskatchewan has another game after some opening losses to Alberta, Ontario, Quebec. Bounced back, though, with a 36-0 win over Manitoba. What have you liked about how this group has come together?
Yeah, it's always so fun to see because, again, girls are coming from everywhere, all over the province. But something that the coaches really do a good job of doing is building that team culture and kind of that football Sask standard. So, when you are in the trenches with the team, it bonds you. It really unifies you. So it's been so fun. The girls have all just been so awesome to work with and see them work together. It's a pretty special group out there.
When you started playing tackle football, it was probably a little different than what it is now. How has the game changed with female tackle football?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Because I didn't start playing till I was 18. So tackle at least. So to see that girls are getting this opportunity, like grade 5 to 8, there's a junior division, and then grade 9 to 12. It's definitely different. And I feel like year to year, it just gets higher and higher quality. Girls get faster and bigger, faster, stronger. So it's definitely changed from when I first stepped out, and there was no talk of a U18 Team Saskatchewan. We're having our first senior women's national tournament for the first time in 10 years. So things are definitely growing and changing in the right direction.
You know, we talk about that 36-0 win over Manitoba, especially if you're a football fan here in Saskatchewan. You know, that means a little bit more when it comes to the provincial rivals over there, right? Maybe you could speak to how the coaches have been able to pull this together in such a short period of time and what's been clicking well, and maybe give them some shout outs.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely got to give a shout out to the head coach, Carter Block. He's a six-a-side guy coaching in Hanley, and he's been pretty dialed with that program as well. And definitely, all of the coaches really have to give them a huge shout out because they're just so dedicated to film and just being able to, they're just constantly, as all coaches do, but just constantly what can we do better? What adjustments can we make? They're just, nose deep into it. And they're a really, really special group of coaches for sure.
We have a pioneer with us. Emmarae Dale was the first female to play in the Prairie Football Conference with the Saskatoon Hilltops. Again, you started football at age 18.
Yeah.
Now, for folks that don't know, football is deep-rooted in your family. Your brothers have done very well.
Yeah, not bad.
So is that where the love of the game came? Where did the love of football come from?
I think it definitely started with my family. Just getting to watch my brothers play growing up. There was just something different about the football culture that I saw and we all we played a variety of different sports. Soccer was kind of the main one, honestly, in our family, but there's definitely something different about the football culture. And yeah, like we always watched the Rider games and things like that growing up too. So there was something just a little bit, I think just being able to have that bond with my brothers too. But again, it wasn't really something I had considered for myself until somebody mentioned that like there is a women's team that, I kind of like, maybe I could do that too. So yeah, their love for it definitely sparked something in me to give it a go. And yeah, just the moment I put the pads on, it was a love affair. So yeah.
And how did the Saskatoon Hilltop opportunity come about? Because from day one, head coach Tom Sargent and even Jeff Yowsey, the defensive coordinator, said, "We're not giving you anything.
No.
Like you are earning this. Like this isn't a show, and you earned it." Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I think whenever I reflect on it, I'm always like a little in shock, honestly, too, because it's those guys don't take anybody just for, the giggles of it. So it kind of was, I guess. They had been kind of looking at me for a little bit longer than I even realized, and then just kind of had a conversation with Jeff the one day where we bumped into each other, and he was kind of like, "I think you should come over to the other side," kind of thing. And I was like, "I don't know if is that are we talking about the same thing?" And he was, and I guess the rest is history from there. We just after he said like, "Yeah, you know what? We'll look into this, see if we can actually make this happen, talk to the people we need to talk to." And that was kind of it. And it was just, it was during COVID, so it was kind of a weird time. So when I was supposed to have like my first sort of actual field session with them, because it was still indoor at the time in March, but COVID like hit, like everything was shutting down the day before the first practice was supposed to happen. And then when things were starting to get lifted, the Hilltops were having practices again in August. And yeah, my first practice was kind of, I think, sort of my evaluation with them. And then they were like, "Yeah, sold. We're good." So yeah, pretty cool.
So there's probably people and young women that are playing on this under 18 team that you've inspired, whether you wanted to or not. Mm-hmm. Probably means a lot to hear that and know that.
It is really cool. I think I didn't really, fully grasp when I first was joining the Hilltops, like the waves that it would create. And I've definitely have heard from a few, like even fellow players I still play with on the Valks who like had heard about my story and wanted to give football a try. So it is so special to know that like there are more girls playing tackle football, and the fact that there is a space for them and teams for them that they can play on. And yeah, it's just super awesome and really cool.
It's a pretty special time for female football players at this point. So I imagine, you being so heavily involved with Football Sask and watching this U18 women's tackle football national tournament coming to Regina, that's got to feel extra special.
Oh, so special. Yeah, like again, like I said, those were not opportunities before, like when I started playing football. And like I think maybe there was some momentum. Like there are definitely like little pockets of girls playing with, their high school teams and whatnot. So definitely some momentum. Like I don't want to take full credit or anything, but it is awesome that it maybe helped and maybe helped some girls stay in it. And just to see those things coming to fruition and the hard work is paying off is so awesome.
As the women's football development director, what's the next step for female football? Is it in tackle? Is it in flag? Is it in both? Is it all of the above?
Yeah, it's kind of all of the above. Like I think we're definitely trying to keep the ball rolling on both. Again, having the senior women's national tournament coming up in August, as well as, trying to help keep that momentum going there. There's definitely a huge wave for flag right now. With it being an Olympic pathway now, we're seeing a lot of growth there. But I think at the end of the day, we just want girls playing football. And if it means if more girls play flag, and that means more girls are then, a little more savvy to coming over to the tackle side, great. But at the end of the day, we just want girls playing football and, showing that there's a sport for anybody and everybody. So yeah, we're kind of hoping to get both up to speed.
What do you hope young female football fans take away from this tournament in Regina?
Great question. I hope that they see that, again, football is like a sport where it's for everybody. You can be any type of athlete. You can have any body type, and like there's probably a space for you. The 6-a-side game is a little bit like different because it's so much open space, and it's a little bit harder, but I really hope that they just see how much football is family, and you make friendships and memories for life, and that it just, carries them forward into sport for the long term. Mm-hmm.
The 6-a-side game is very unique. It started in Saskatchewan, did it not?
I believe so. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
And can you explain it to people? Because, again, in the small town that I grew up in, we probably should have played 6-a-side because we didn't have enough good players for 12 if I was on the team. But can you explain the game? It's a little bit different, but it's a lot to watch, a lot of fun.
It is so much fun. You can be so creative with formations. You only really have one ineligible player, and that's the person that's in the middle on the line. So you have 3 on the line, and each person, wide out or end, is an eligible receiver. So you have an O-lineman who's all of a sudden releasing on a route. Like, there's a lot of that happens. It's super fast paced. Like, and again, with there being so half the amount of people, and the field is still the same length, it's just a little bit narrower. As soon as somebody, like if one person misses on defense, like that's a seam that's just like a 70-yard touchdown run. Like it's pretty like, scoring match. It's very hard task for the defense. If you can keep your edge and keep contained, you're usually okay. But these teams have been like astounding in the air, on the ground. It's just been, so cool.
You mentioned there are 5 teams, right?
Yes.
Is the game growing across Canada?
Yes, definitely. So we have Team Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. There was a BC team in the U16 tournament, the first ever U16 showcase that happened this year in Calgary. So we're hoping that kind of carries them forward into having a U18 team as well. And and again, there's pockets slowly kind of coming up in the East as well. So, and there's an Atlantic team in senior women. So hopefully that kind of goes back to their provinces to get some younger girls playing as well. So it's definitely trending the right way. Yeah.
What are some of the names we should be watching for as this wraps up after tomorrow when it comes to football? Saskatchewan's team, of course.
Yes, of course. Defensive player, Maxine Zincada, she is just absolute heat-seeking missile out there. She wants to go put her shoulder through somebody, just a very physical,
I like it,
dominant player. Drea Uren is the quarterback, and she is mobile. She is like, and again, that's another huge difference in the 6-a-side game is like, quarterbacks are on the move a lot. And if you can utilize your quarterback as a runner, that's a huge advantage. And she's somebody that she wants to keep the ball and go, and she's fast and explosive. So she's definitely somebody that I'd be watching for. Ellie Wicks, really fast running back receiver who loves blocking, though. Again, just like I love the physicality from this team. And also Emerson West was one of the offensive players of the day. Just an incredible receiver, super fast, and like making these crazy catches in double coverage, like just astounding. So those are a few of the names that I'd say to watch for. Yeah, I'm sorry for all their. I could shout them all out, I'm sure, and they're gonna be like, "Why didn't you talk about me?" And I'm sorry, you're great. Oh, one more I should say, Mackenzie McLean, first time playing tackle football. She came over from the flag side and was attending the Institute of Saskatchewan Football, and she's been playing end, and she's one of those athletes that can do it all. She's fast, she's strong, she's big. She's been doing really awesome. So that's another one I would say.
I don't want to call this a recruitment pitch, but if there's a female athlete that's considering playing football, what would you tell them that they're going to get out of the sport?
Oh my gosh, they are going to get so many life lessons. Girls in sport in general, like I know this is about football, but just like that hard work will really like take you, far in life. Like if there's one thing about football that I think I've really taken with me forward is just like the perseverance of it. And like, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked over, if you can get back up, like that resilience piece is just, it's so much fun. And again, like, I think football can take you, like there are a lot of opportunities now that are popping up too, especially on the flag side, but also like you will like make memories and friendships for a lifetime that like, you might not ever have otherwise. So those are just a few of the things. There's so many, again, just sport in general just will carry you so far. And I can't remember what the actual stat or percentages of women in leadership roles in their workplaces that came from sport, but it's a pretty high percentage, and so it's definitely something of benefit. Yeah.
You know, a lot of people a couple of years ago wouldn't have even thought that this would be a tournament coming to Regina, but I imagine you're very proud of it, and there's probably a lot of people in football Sask that helped make this happen. How much blood, sweat, and tears went into this thing?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's anytime we're hosting a tournament, especially, it's a lot of work. Mike Thomas, he does so much to make this like the best event ran possible. And then Amy Kowalski, she is the general manager of the U18 girls. Again, it's constant. Like we're planning like at least a year and ahead, just to like nail down all the selection camps, make sure all the coaches are good. They have everything they need. And then from there on out, it's just like nonstop emails, making sure everything's in line. So there's a lot of work that goes in place. And then you have, making sure your officials are coordinated, and you have therapists and things like that on hand, and, your merchandise and things like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of work. There's, I could shout out the whole football Sask staff, of course, but those are a couple names that just, really put a lot of work into this tournament. Brendan Bennett, Cam Skinner, they're just, doing the most.
Football Sask puts a ton of work into events and tournaments like this. And I know you're probably just thinking, I need to get through this week. Teagan, shut up. But
no, not at all.
You guys have anything else on the horizon here in the near future?
This was kind of the last of our youth teams for the summer. And then after, it's just the senior women's national tournament. Again, first time that has happened since 2016. So we'll be having training camp in Regina, and then the tournament itself will be in Saskatoon. There will be 4 teams there: us, Quebec, Team Atlantic, and Team Alberta. And so it's just 2 game days, a semifinal and a final, and it'll be pretty good football, we think. Yeah.
How big is the opportunity to have facilities like Leibel Field in Regina and Saskatoon Minor Football Field in Saskatoon? How big is that for this sport?
It's huge. Yeah, like we're so lucky to have those facilities. They're beautiful. They are, like, compared to, some that are out there, it's like we're kind of keeping the standard, I think. Yeah. So just having them just helps us run a really great quality event, and it's facilities that the athletes deserve, and it just gives that extra little peace of mind too, just to know that like you're not running into those kind of logistical nightmares. But so blessed to have those facilities.
Emmarae Dale, of course, is our guest from Football Saskatchewan, and I just want to read this off real quick here from our YouTube stream. Emmarae, DB Marauder, can a show be devoted to how successful Sask football teams have been this summer? It seems to be dominant in interprovincial play, and I think the coaches and players need to be congratulated. So I just wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to hear that, because you guys do put in a ton of work, and we want to see the fruits of your labor. So what's on the go for the rest of today and tomorrow? Yeah,
thank you so much. Yeah, like it's, again, just to kind of like add to that, I think we've had every team bring home hardware so far, knock on wood, of course. So it's been pretty exciting. And then even for our elite flag girls, a silver medal, a bronze medal, like it's been pretty awesome. So so for the rest of today and tomorrow, it's just kind of, again, getting the girls geared up for final day tomorrow. They're playing for a bronze medal. It's kind of, again, it's an interesting format because it's 5 teams. So I think it's the 5th place, Manitoba plays 3rd first, and then it's 4th first. Like everybody plays each other in a mini game format again. So again, super fast, don't have a lot of time to settle in. And then the final will be played between Team Ontario and Team Quebec, and that will be a full game. So that one will be a little different. It's interesting, and you always think, well, if I just had one more quarter, things could be different. So we'll see what happens with those 2 very dominant football teams. So it'll be a really exciting day of football.
When you have a conversation with someone, an interview, there's no wrong answers, right?
Yeah.
So are they the Edmonton Elk or the Edmonton Elks?
Oh, no.
And there might be a wrong answer.
I didn't hear this part. Now I'm nervous.
Say what's in your heart.
Edmonton Elks.
Thank you. There's the right answer.
Oh,
you were right. See, told you.
Dang it. No, I refuse to call them the Elks because it's just grammatically incorrect.
But as soon as I, like, in my heart, I wanted to say Elks, but as soon as I was thinking about it, I was like, but it might be.
It makes more sense to say elk.
Elk.
right?
I feel you. I do feel
okay,
you.
thank you.
But I think in my heart.
For the record, the first answer is always correct. Just
I'm
saying.
playing the very diplomatic answers there now.
Well played.
Of course, there had to be a controversial
Of course.
question.
I know. I was like, oh no,
right.
not a skills testing question.
No math here.
Emmarae Dale, of course, Women's Football Development Director of Football Saskatchewan. We're going to have you back in closer to that next tournament. We really appreciate you taking the time.
You bet. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Of course, we are going to take a quick break here. But before we do, I just want to quickly mention when it comes to football, Saskatchewan Rough Rider Foundation 50/50. If you aren't in on this already, you probably should be. Not only do you have an opportunity to win, half that jackpot, obviously half of the money also goes back into the Saskatchewan Rough Rider 50/50 Foundation, which helps a lot of youth here in the community. All that money poured right back into the province with some great football programming. Early bird prize to be won every game. You can buy your tickets at Riders 50/50, Riders5050.ca. Now, the early bird prize up for grabs. You can get in on this if you get your tickets before Thursday night at 10 p.m. It is a trip to Toronto for two. So you get return flights to Toronto from Saskatchewan, 2 nights at a downtown hotel near Rogers Centre, and of course you get to go check out some Blue Jays games, right? So you might as well get in on this. You can also take the money and run $3,600 in cash. So riders5050.ca. Hit them up right now. You got until Thursday night at 10 p.m., but you're going to forget before then, so just do it now. We will take that break, and we'll be back with your sports ticker. It's the Sports Cage, and it's on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Western Canadian Baseball League action tonight. We're into the dying, week and a half here of the regular season. The Regina Red Sox taking on the Energy City Cactus Rats on the road, which, by the way, I think is a great name. And yes, that one is plural because rats make sense. Moose Jaw Miller Express are also in Weyburn to face the Beavers tonight. Medicine Hat Mavericks taking on the Saskatoon Berries up in the Bridge City. Major League Baseball, you got one more week until the MLB trade deadline. Tonight, the Toronto Blue Jays take on the Washington Nationals in the first of a 3-game set. Scherzer, the right-handed pitcher, is going to be on the mound for the Jays facing his former team on his 42nd birthday. Also, the 3M Open. Jackson Koivu won this one in his third professional start. The 21-year-old held off number 1 Scotty Scheffler with a closing 5 under 66, finishing a tournament with a record 25 under par for a 3-stroke victory. Commonwealth Games in Glasgow as well. There's 7 athletes, 1 coach, and 3 support staff with ties to Saskatchewan, and they are all taking part in the games. It's scheduled to run through August the 1st. Gymnast Jordan Carroll, the 20-year-old from Saskatoon, captured a gold medal in the men's pommel horse title. Second gold medal of the games here. Canada's medal count right now sitting at 17 medals, 6 gold, 7 silver, and 4 bronze. And our SportsCage.com poll right now. Which CFL West Division team do you think is most likely to miss the playoffs? We talked a little bit about this right off the hop. Is it BC? Is it Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg? What do you think? Which West Division team in the CFL is most likely to miss the playoffs in 2026? And because we do have a little bit of time here before we got to get to the news, I'm going to look up the results right now. Dave?
74% of folks say the British Columbia Lions.
The British Columbia Lions?
Yeah. There is not a single vote for the Edmonton Elks. Everyone believes that the Elks are in.
See, but this time last year, everybody would have been discounting the Elk.
Oh, you're sure? Absolutely, what they would have.
It is amazing how quickly that can turn around in 8 weeks into a season.
I'm somewhat shocked that people would think that Winnipeg would miss over Calgary. I think that... I'm
not. I'm all in on VA.
Yeah?
A healthy QB makes a big difference.
You're right.
Yep. Yeah, I think... I agree with this because right now BC leading the way, most likely to miss the playoffs, followed by Winnipeg, then Calgary, then Saskatchewan, then Edmonton. I think that's accurate.
I don't have a problem with that, but...
Well, okay, maybe not accurate, but I agree.
We asked at sportscage.com, if you haven't got the Riders All Access report, by the way, you get exclusive Riders stuff all the time. So sign up for it. You'll find it at sportscage.com, just where it says Insider Report. Click down, you get signed up. There's exclusive Riders trivia, blah, 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 blah. But the poll question that asked which CFL team was most reliant on their starting quarterback being healthy. And the overwhelming favorite of voters was the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But
we haven't seen a lot from Cone yet, though.
No.
And then Schwager,
Shager,
well,
and
Swagger,
Tommy.
Shager,
And Tommy Stevens.
Well, Tommy Stevens, though, he's clutch in the short yardage game. We haven't really seen him do a whole lot of passing.
His athleticism gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
But I would have suggested that if I had a vote on that poll, my suggestion would have been Calgary. Because I'm not sure that there's a lot behind Vernon Adams Jr. And this question was asked before Winnipeg acquired Drew Brown, by the way.
Which is a huge caveat to this. Also, I'm curious if BC should be part of that conversation.
You gotta think, especially with them going in a new direction next week.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break because we got to get to the news here. I'm getting the signal from Colson. This is the Sports Cage, and it's on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Monday edition of the Sports Cage for Sask Today, the voices of Saskatchewan. Visit Sask Today, Saskatchewan's leading online news and egg sports portal. We got it all. So much I can't even keep my words straight when I try to talk about everything we do there. sasktoday.ca, bringing you the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. Teagan Witko with you. Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, with me as well. And then, of course, Colson Schultz on the controls here, keeping us on the air, 620 CKRM and on the stream. So we did get a text here just really quickly. Prairie Land Rentals text line, Brett from Moose Jaw, saying the review center hasn't made the game better. If it's only for egregious mistakes, then one viewing of the angles should be enough. If it takes longer, then trust the refs. There's the answer to your question, Dave.
Again, and I honestly ask it, has the replay center made things better or worse? I don't know. And that's why I ask others' opinion, because like I said, to me, sometimes when you watch the replay, as a fan, as someone watching the replay system, I believe that I should have a clear indication in my mind of what the call should be. But sometimes it seems like a coin toss because, again, whether it's angles, whether it's different speeds that we're watching it at.
Because you don't see all the same angles in the stadium either or on TV.
No, and it's sometimes not clearly defined. So I would think that when you watch a replay, everyone should agree on the outcome, right? Like that should end it. But sometimes it seems to spark more debate. You know what I mean?
They're just going to debate over changing the name of it again.
Yeah, very true.
Gosh, can we stop with that? What do you think? Review Center, has it made the CFL game better or worse? Text us, 306-936-6262 on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Prairie Land Rentals, from small power tools to skid steers, they probably have what you need. You can deal with the owner directly at 600 Albert Street. Okay, still to come this hour, we do have your clutch performer. We got Crofty, who's going to swing by, your sprinkle of the day, and so much more. Of course, at this time, we would normally have your Riders Coaches show, but we're going to postpone that until a little bit later on this week when Barney is in. Right now, however, we want to jump out on the Western Pizza guest hotline and chat with our friend JC Abbott of 3 Down Nation. Appreciate you taking the time, JC.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
So I need to start, we were talking about this off air. I'm like, we have to start with the Riders and Elk because chronologically it was the first game in week 8, but also I think it was the game of the week. So when you look back on it, from your perspective, what did you see and who should be more concerned here? The Riders giving up 36 points at home or the Elks needing to do it again this week in Edmonton?
I think it's the Riders that need to be a little bit more concerned here. Both teams played well enough to win that football game. I thought it was a thrilling example of CFL football, the league at its finest. And, you know, whether you're a fan of Saskatchewan or Edmonton, I think you left that game at least entertained, if not pleased with the result. But the Riders had opportunities at the end of the football game, and they didn't capitalize on them, right? And you can take the offensive pass interference call against Samuel Emlis, which I believe was a soft call and should not have been a flag. But ultimately, there's a missed field goal after that shouldn't have been missed. And Trevor Harris misses an open throw in the end zone as well, a play that he admits he should have had. If those two plays go differently, you're winning that football game, and they did not put themselves in a position to do so because of their own mistakes. You can't blame that on the referee. That's something they'll have to fix this week.
In your opinion, what has more to be fixed? The offense? Because there's also the Keyshawn Johnson double move play down the sideline where he was open as well. So those offensive mistakes that need to be fixed, are they bigger or are the defense mistakes bigger?
Well, there were some huge busts on the defensive side of the ball that need to be fixed, but that hasn't necessarily been a trend with this Rough Riders team, at least in my opinion. I think they've been a lot more solid on the defensive side of the ball. I think the offensive struggles have been a little bit more consistent as of late. They came out of the gates super hot this year, but the last few games, there have been hiccups, right? There have been mistakes like we saw at the end of that football game. I think that's where your attention lies more because it's been a consistent issue. You'll sort out the defense. This team has proven that under Corey Mace and Josh Bell as the coordinator. They'll get that figured out. I think they're going to have to focus a little bit more on some of the finishes on offense that have not necessarily gone their way.
And don't let Cody Fajardo throw for over 500 yards. That might be a big one. You know, you bring up that offensive pass interference call, JC. Some of the decisions made in this game that kind of ultimately hurt the Riders. What did you see in that play? Do you think the officials got it right, or was it a call that could have gone either way?
To me, it's a soft call. I don't think I would have thrown the flag in that instance at that moment in the game, which Emlis spoke to a little bit after the fact in the locker room, that this is a critical moment, and typically that's when the flag stays in the pocket. From my perspective, I believe that when they were jostling for position as he broke to that corner, his hand gets up a little bit high and gets onto the defender's helmet. And when you see that as a referee, I think you're instinctually going to reach for the flag, and that's probably why it came out in this circumstance. But ultimately, I don't think that affected the separation on the play. I didn't interpret it as a push-off, and the flag should have stayed in the pocket in this circumstance. But that's football, right? You can't control that. Sometimes calls are going to go against you, and you've got to be able to recover. The Riders couldn't.
Do you think, and again, it's moot because Corey Mace was out of challenges at that point, right? And again, depends on who you ask and how you see it, whether or not his first challenge should have been successful or not. But in the grand scheme of things, you heard what we've had from our listeners saying when it comes to the CFL Replay Center. Has it made the game better or worse?
I'm more of a fan of the replay center than most people because I've watched a lot of football where there isn't a replay center and where you don't have that luxury, whether it's, during the pandemic, I covered a lot of European football and obviously not the highest quality of reffing over there. And you can see some of the egregious mistakes when you're watching the video and you go, oh, boy, I wish somebody would have fixed this. So I know how bad it can get if you don't have that option. So when I see a replay center make a questionable call, I give them a little bit of grace because ultimately there's going to be differences of perspective here. It's not as cut and dry as people would like it to be. And even on the calls that sometimes I think are egregious, I'll have people push back on me and say, no, that's not how I saw that play. So it's not an easy job. And I think having the benefit of somebody giving it a second look is ultimately better than not, because you're going to avoid the worst case scenarios. You'll get some bad debates along the way. You'll get some mistakes, don't get me wrong. But the absolutely catastrophic, missed call, blatant missed call that costs a team a game or a championship isn't going to occur. That's why I like it there.
Can we shift gears to a little closer to home for you, JC, and BC? Wondering if by any chance the World Cup, those trainers have got that miracle water spray they bring out when the guys have got 3 broken legs and a torn Achilles. They didn't leave any of that around for Nathan Rourke by any chance, did they? Because looks like the Lions could sure use it.
They really could. Unfortunately, I don't think they left any behind. I don't expect Rourke to play this week, although I don't think he's far away. I would suspect next week he's potentially an option. The week after that, certainly, based on the timeline that the Lions have laid out. But based on what I just heard and witnessed at Lions practice literally an hour ago, it sounds like it's going to be Caden Salter's team for this game on Thursday, and it should be. Chase Bryce did not show enough in his time under center that they can roll with him. He does not look like a guy who can win you football games in the Canadian Football League, and Caden Salter has sky-high potential, so it's likely going to be the rookie who takes the reins here in the absence of Nathan Rourke and can hopefully steal a victory and attempt to salvage this Lions season that is quickly slipping away.
So they lose to the Argos 26-12 in week 8. Nathan Rourke aside, the quarterback position aside, what else does BC need to clean up?
Protection issues. I think that's a major one, and that's been a persistent problem with this team over a number of seasons. They released Dejon Allen, the right tackle, former most outstanding offensive lineman, last week. That was a bit of a surprise based on his performance, but the team felt that he wasn't living up to expectations. And, as the highest price guy on that unit, he had to go. Unfortunately for them, the player that they felt strongly about playing in his place, Josh Donovan, goes down on the second series of the game with what appears to be a serious injury. We don't have an official update on that, but Buck Pierce told me today that he's not going to be available anytime soon. And I would not be shocked if this is a season-ending injury. Unfortunately, that's the way it's looking right now. And that leaves you in a tough spot. They've got some guys on the injured list that may be available in a few weeks. Josh Coker, who was outstanding with Calgary a couple of years ago. Isaiah Cage is also on this team, but those guys are recovering from serious injuries from years past and aren't going to be ready to play until at least Labor Day, if not beyond that. Now you've got a bad unit that's just gotten worse and is more limited because of the injury that you've suffered and your decision to release Allen. Salter's going to help with that because he's a mobile quarterback, far more so than Bryce. But even when Nathan Rourke comes back, I mean, that shoulder is something that can flare up again if he's taking too many hits. And right now, I don't trust the Lions protection unit to get the job done.
So I guess staying with BC, 2 more questions from me, JC Abbott. First and foremost, who says you can't go back again? You recall last year here in Saskatchewan, Noah Zare was released by the team in training camp and then brought back a couple of days later. Could Allen be coming back to BC with the banged up offensive line, or is that ship sailed?
It's something that I've wondered about, to be frank, because of the injury, but I don't think there's the appetite there on either side. I mean, Allen, certainly it's a bit of an insult as the highest paid guy to be shown the door at this stage in the season. I'm not sure he'd be open to coming back. And then the Lions' concerns that they had, still exist, right? And I don't think he was a guy that they felt fit what they wanted from the identity of their football team. And so I think that door's closed. Could they look to bring other guys in? Potentially. They brought back Tyron Walker Hunt, who was on the practice roster to start the year, and then was released a couple weeks ago. So he could potentially even start this week, depending on the status of left guard Brandon Yates, who also took on a minor injury in that loss to Toronto. So there could be other additions, but I don't believe Allen's going to be one of those options.
The other story I was fascinated out of BC that was covered appropriately by 3downnation.com, JC, was the fact that Emmarae Dale, the owner of the BC Lions, may be looking to purchase BC Place. What would that mean for the Lions, maybe for the Whitecaps, for the league as a whole?
I think it'd be huge for the Lions if Emmarae Dale got control of BC Place, particularly from a revenue standpoint. In the past, some of the complaints that the Whitecaps have made public have also existed for the Lions in terms of not being able to get the benefit of some of the game day revenue in terms of concession and alcohol sales and parking that you get when you control your own stadium. They also don't get stadium naming rights, which could potentially be a massively lucrative aspect there. The reality is, I think it's unlikely that Doman gets this purchase. There's not been an open public call for a bidding process at this stage, and that would need to take place because this is a government-owned facility. But what this is Emmarae Dale reading the tea leaves with the Vancouver Whitecaps. He's seeing what has happened in terms of the government's response and them saying they're open to potentially giving the Whitecaps management control of BC Place or even selling it to them. And he's putting his hand up and saying, hey, I'm a pretty powerful guy too. I got deep pockets and I've got an important team in this market. And if you're going to give the Whitecaps that advantage, I want to see at the table as well. I think his interest in the stadium predates what's happened with the Whitecaps. I do think that's accurate, but it certainly has, the recent events have triggered this approach to government, and he wants to be a part of that conversation going forward. He should be, because I think it would be just completely unfair and lopsided if you were going to bend over backwards to the MLS team because they're threatening to relocate to Las Vegas and give them everything and then disadvantage the Lions as a potential tenant to a team that is looking to control all the dates in a stadium and wants to put themselves in the best place possible. That's not right. And I think Emmarae Dale knows that, and he's going to protect his asset and his franchise as he has done throughout his tenure as owner. So we'll see how it plays out as these conversations with government continue.
Well, we all know he's not scared to open up his checkbook. That's for sure. That'll be an interesting one to follow. Let's shift a little bit further east now. Winnipeg, Calgary over the weekend. Winnipeg's loss certainly raised a lot of questions about life without Zach Collaros. So if you're the Bombers, how concerned are you right now?
I'm pretty concerned about the state of my football team, not just in the absence of Zach Collaros. I mean, Drew Brown has shown that he's competent at times. He's also shown that he can cost you games with the interceptions that he's thrown. And, you know, he got very fortunate against Ottawa that this was not back-to-back 4 interception performances, because they dropped a bunch of those in that Red Blacks game. And I didn't think he's played well in either of the last 2 contests. Now, can he get back to a level of a high level of play that you can win football games with? Absolutely. I'm not super concerned there, but when you've got Brady Oliveira coming out and saying, you know, I don't know what the identity of this team is, and we're not giving, you know, the running game the respect it's due in the fourth quarter, and we're losing games because of it, you know, that's a concern. And the defense is a concern when you're giving up huge busts in coverage like they did against Calgary, and some of the mistakes that they made. And that's been a consistent trend throughout the season where they have not performed on that back end. I think Winnipeg's record is a little bit inflated. I think they've gotten fortunate on a couple of games. And on the flip side, I think Calgary's record is probably not as good as they deserve. They're the better football team right now, in my opinion. And the Bombers are trending in the wrong direction. They've got to find a way to restore their identity and stop making the mistakes on defense that they have been.
Well, I mean, Brady Oliveira, you might want to listen to that guy. Didn't he just crack 6,000 career rushing yards, right? I mean, he's definitely a bright spot for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But maybe if we shift focus a little bit onto a different player here that I'd love to get your take on here, JC, Tyreek McAllister. My goodness, receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, kick return touchdown in one game?
Yeah, an unbelievable performance, a historic performance, right? Never been done in CFL history, and he did it all in one half, which is truly remarkable. I think he's been a fantastic addition for the Calgary Stampeders, a guy who, you know, was very good with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in its first CFL season, but didn't necessarily have the breakout plays. Like, I don't think he scored a return touchdown in that game, in that season, I should say, even though he led the league in return yardage that year, got his NFL opportunity, bounced around a little bit, comes back, is an under the radar acquisition. And he's panned out wonderfully, not only because they've, you know, been fantastic on special teams with him, but because they've been willing to give him offensive touches as well. And I think that role is only going to grow as the season progresses. A little bit like Justin Rankin and Javon Leake in Edmonton and how much success they've had as a tandem. I think when you've got Dedrick Mills pounding the rock and having the success that we know he can have, and then you bring a speedster off the bench when everybody's tired and you can hit it over the top, that makes you dangerous as an offense. And it was a very smart pickup by Dave Dickenson and company.
To the Winnipeg side of that ledger, JC, your interpretation, Brady Oliveira after the game says the offense doesn't know who they were. That's paraphrasing him. Let's face it, he was a big part of why Jason Hogan is no longer the offensive coordinator in Winnipeg and took the demotion. Tommy Condell comes in, and Oliveira isn't getting the ball as much as he wants. How much do you listen to the perennial MOP candidate? How much are you worried that there's some internal strife happening in Winnipeg, or am I blowing it all out of proportion?
I'm not overly worried about internal strife, because this is something we've heard from Oliveira before, right? He called out Jason Hogan after the Labor Day Classic last year when he wasn't getting enough touches. The year before, when he won MOP and he was hurt at the start of the year, he complained that he wasn't getting the ball enough at the start of the season. And of course, when they listened to him, it turned out pretty good. So this is something that he feels comfortable doing at times, expressing his frustration for better or for worse. And I think for the most part, when the team has listened to him and made him the focal point of the offense, they've had more success. And Oliveira, to his credit, did say, it's tough to run the ball when you're behind. He understands that. But the momentum of that game had shifted, even though the Bombers were trailing. And had they stuck with Oliveira in the fourth quarter, I think they could have potentially pulled it out. They didn't. That's been a tendency in Tommy Condell's career. He doesn't like to run the ball in those situations. I think he needs to learn to if the Bombers are going to get back on the right track.
So here, never believe social media. I was told that once, believe it or not.
Everything there is true.
As Montreal was, and again, it wasn't a rout of Hamilton. It wasn't a rout. It could have gone either way up until the end when Montreal got some separation. But the comment was made, let's give Montreal the East Division crown right now. They're the best. Who else is going to challenge them? And the comment was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in a crossover scenario. I'm like, I don't know if we want to go down that far, but who's next in the East to challenge Montreal?
I mean, there's a grain of truth to that joke, right? I think if you're looking at the picture, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the next most dangerous team at this stage in that playoff scenario. Now, the Toronto Argonauts are half a good football team because when they've got Chad Kelly on the field, their offense is unbelievable. Right? The things that they can do and the way they can stretch the field makes them a threat to beat anybody on any given day. The problem is the defense is also a threat to let anybody beat them on any given day, particularly the pass defense. So you don't fully trust them. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, again, half a good team. The defense is playing phenomenal in this game, and they did an awesome job against the Montreal Alouettes. I mean, Davis Alexander was basically a non-factor in that game. They had to rely heavily on Travis Tice in the screen game. They took away everything deep. They're playing exceptional football, but without Bo Levi Mitchell and with Trey Ford at quarterback, you're going to have games like this one where he keeps you in it and then he throws it away at the end. And that's all that interception was him throwing away the game, no matter how you slice it. So they're also not a team that you really want to place your money on and bet to win the East. So it's the Montreal Alouettes, and then it's everybody else right now, and it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can get hot at the right time and figure out their problems to be able to pull the upset off at the end of the year. Also, if the Alouettes can stay healthy enough to keep this sizable lead, because as we all know, if Davis Alexander isn't on the field for them as the quarterback, that is a much different football team.
Yeah, I got to keep an eye on that hammy. That's for sure. We're almost at the midway point of the CFL regular season here, JC. Of course, JC Abbott of 3downnation.com is joining us right now. Which team has surprised you the most to this point so far this 2026 CFL season?
I think the BC Lions have surprised me the most. Obviously, a lot of people had them as the preseason Grey Cup favorite. I did as well. I understood their flaws as somebody who covers this football team. I knew that they were going to struggle in certain aspects, which they have struggled in, defense early in the year against the big play, the protection issues. But I thought that Nathan Rourke is a good enough player that he could cover all that up. Well, it wasn't true in the first 4 games of the season, and now Nathan Rourke's hurt. So where does that put you? I think they are, to your poll question that you've put out today, the likeliest team to miss the playoffs in the West Division, not because I don't think the record suggests. I do think they can get better and that Rourke's return will buoy them in that way, but they've dug such a deep hole and all the other teams are so good and so competitive that I don't know how you make up enough ground to get it done at this stage. It's going to be a very, very difficult path. On the flip side, positively, I think the Calgary Stampeders have exceeded my expectations a little bit. I know their record doesn't necessarily suggest that, but I thought they would be a regression candidate. Vernon Adams Jr. is playing amazingly offensively. I think they've beat my expectations there, but also defensively. At the time I made those predictions, Jalen Hutchings hadn't re-signed, and we didn't know what Folarin or Malari was going to look like or when he would be back from that injury. Well, since he's returned, he's been one of the best defensive linemen in the CFL. The pressure rates are up there with guys who have played 2 or 3 more games than him at this stage. Clarence Hicks is playing like a most outstanding defensive player candidate. And Jalen Hutchings, I think, has quietly gotten better in every game since his return, and I think had his best one against Winnipeg. So that is a fearsome unit. They're a dark horse team for me to potentially threaten down the line and maybe upset somebody on the road to a Grey Cup.
JC, I'm going to throw another poll question your way, and if we could go back in time, because unfortunately we've had too big of a sample size of late to find out what teams look like without their starting quarterback. But if magically Nathan Rourke is healthy and Bo Levi Mitchell is healthy, and we're not talking about a neck injury to Chad Kelly, which team would you suggest in the CFL is most reliant on the health of their starting quarterback?
There's a number of candidates. The Calgary Stampeders are certainly one of them, right? They don't have a lot behind Vernon Adams Jr. Josh Love is completely unproven. The BC Lions, I think we've seen what that looks like. Well, maybe Caden Salter can prove that it's a different equation with him at the helm at rookie. We haven't seen him in live CFL action, and he was exciting at the end of that last game. So potentially he changes that equation. But Chase Bryce, I think, did what I expected him to do, which was not very much. We don't know what Jack Cohn really looks like either in Saskatchewan. That's a big one. So to me, it's really those 3 that in the event of a quarterback injury seriously drop off and suffer. Everyone else, I think, can muddle through to a certain degree of passability. But those 3 are huge question marks. And in the case of BC, the question has at least been answered halfway there, right? We know what Chase Bryce is now. Now we'll see if Caden Salter changes that equation.
Well, JC Abbott of 3 Down Nation, we appreciate you being so gracious with your time. Of course, you can follow along with all of JC's coverage at 3downnation.com. Thanks so much for doing this, man. We'll have to do it again soon.
For sure. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. JC Abbott, 3 Down Nation, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Always love to have the guys on from 3 Down to talk a little bit of ball. I mean, I could keep talking CFL for another hour.
I had a half dozen questions.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we do need to take a break.
No, it's not you. It's Colson.
I know. Someone's got to keep us on track here because we still have more to do this hour, including your... Oh, ding, ding, ding. Wow. He's feisty, hey? You can tell that he has a newborn at home. He's not getting any sleep.
He's ornery. He's a little cranky. And I won my last fight by 40 yards, so try to catch me.
Okay, let's take that break. We still have your clutch performer to come, your sprinkle of the day, Crofty, and so much more. This is the Sports Cage, and it's on the home of Rider Nation on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Yes, it is time for your clutch performer. I do have a couple, but I do see that Colson has his headphones on, so I'm going to throw it over to you first, Colson, if you want to go. Assuming that you have one ready to rock and roll. Oh,
I just need to find my camera.
There you are.
There it is.
Yeah.
What you got?
I am giving mine to the U15 co-ed national flag football team who won their division of NFL flag football.
Woo!
Yeah. Won their whole championship. So this is the last desperate pass here by Team Mexico to the goal line. Incomplete. Canada wins. So.
Dang!
Yeah, the NFL flag championships were happening over this weekend, and Team Canada brought it home in U15 co-ed.
That's a good clutch performer.
Thank you.
I love that. I'm going to do a really quick one here. I didn't send you anything on this one, Colson, so if you're watching the stream, my apologies. But I do just want to give another shout out to Football Saskatchewan for all of the hard work that they put into every single thing that they do, especially with the U18 female national championships happening at Leibel Field, wrapping up tomorrow. Absolutely amazing organization that puts so much work into all of these tournaments, and it seems like they just never stop moving. So I appreciate that. I got more, but Dave, I'm going to toss it over to you for the next one if you got.
All right. Well, you know what? This last weekend was a big one for provincial baseball in our province because a lot of provincial championships were held, and it's interesting the way it's done because it's the way it has to be done. But Baseball Sask, basically a couple of weeks ago, you back things up and you see where all the teams are going to align. And so where the AAA tier ones are going to be and where the AA tier one. And so anyways, the organizing committees for all of them have to really in short order put things together so that they can hold an event. I was fortunate enough to be at the opening ceremonies of the U18 AA Championship over at Pacer Park last Friday. It was a fantastically organized event. So hats off to the organizers of all Baseball Sask provincials this weekend. Even in a cool little touch, what they did, they had 39 graduating players. Again, U18 players, right? Last year of minor baseball, 39 of them competing in the tournament. And what they did was they gave them all a little piece of shale from the tournament grounds so that they all got to keep with them. Yeah, so very, very cool. So,
what a nice little memento.
I know that the event in Regina was just one of many, so congratulations to all of the provincial champions. Of course, all have been declared. Some will be going to the Western, some will be going to Nationals. So hats off, Baseball Sask. Terrific weekend of provincial baseball. And if you are out at Pacer Park, just so you know, if you're on Diamond 8, and there's a little hole behind second, just so you're aware that's where the shale went.
Okay.
Heads up.
Good to know. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, my next few here, not nearly as local, but I do still feel as though it's worth discussing. Dylan Cease, because we were talking about the MLB trade deadline coming up a week from today. Obviously, Cease has been absolutely clutch for the Toronto Blue Jays. He fired a one-hit shutout for the Jays over the Red Sox this weekend. A Red Sox team that have been the hottest team in the MLB, mind you. They won 16 of their past 17 games heading into this one. So Dylan Cease, which, by the way, now he's got the beard rocking with the muzzy as well.
Yes.
That must be good luck because he threw a complete game, one hit, as I mentioned, 12 strikeouts to lead Toronto to that 6-0 win over the Sox at Fenway Park, which is intimidating in and of itself. So he carried that team to that win. He ended up retiring Boston's entire lineup, 120 pitches, and one of the best starts of his career. That's pretty clutch.
Very clutch, very good performance by him, and he worries me a little bit because you know what they say about history repeating itself? Remember when Doc Halladay was a Toronto Blue Jay? You could count on him every 5 days to go out and get the win. There just wasn't really much of a team around him.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't even say it.
That worries.
Don't even say it.
I'm just saying.
Okay, moving on. Luke Littler. That's a name that I know would probably be familiar to Colson.
Yeah, I brought him up last week sometime.
Yeah, it was a clutch performer as well. He's the dart player. Dart
thrower.
He's an
dart thrower. Stop it, Dave. Okay, so he completed the greatest world match play campaign in history, averaging 111.04. So he defeated Gerwin Price, which I'm saying that name as if I know exactly who this dart thrower is.
Losing, but gaining.
He's just
yourself, can't you?
Yeah,
so good.
Improving your confidence.
Yes.
So he beats this Price person. And if you're watching the stream, you can see it for yourself. 18-9 in the final to claim his second Phil Taylor trophy, which is a big deal in the world of darts, I'm told. So he is an absolute sensation, this Luke Littler guy. He's just absolutely clutch. He is also getting his own Netflix show.
Really?
Yes. It is called, he's celebrating on the stream if you're watching this, Luke Littler. It's called Beat Luke Littler. It's a live event featuring 20 amateur dart players who are taking on the world champion in a single leg of 501 darts. So anybody who defeats him has a chance at winning. I had to do the conversion on this earlier. It's basically just shy of $1 million Canadian. So if you want to go on this game show, I guess for lack of a better term, regional qualifiers are going to be held in London and Manchester before the show airs October 30th on Netflix. Again, the live streaming.
So this is again basically like the Scallenge, but against the #1 darts player.
What's the Scallenge?
Okay. So if you don't know who Brian Scalabrine is, a role player in the NBA from back in the day, was nicknamed the White Mamba because it was funny, but played power forward, so big, tall guy. Again, role player. So on his best season, averaged 5 points a season, right? He did a TV show where they took, I think it was 7 regular people, and they played him one-on-one first to 7 points or whatever it was. I think like some of them were regular people off the street, some were former college hoopers, stuff like that. I think one of the college players scored a basket, and that was it.
Oh.
And then the editors afterwards was like, you know what, why don't we do a little 3-on-1? So his 3 editors played him, didn't score a basket either. And that led to him making his now, I think what he's most well known for, his famous quote of, "I am closer to LeBron than you are to me." Just to let you know, there are levels to how good you are at athletes. So again, he's a role player, and normal people couldn't beat him. And now you're having regular dart players go against the number one.
It's humbling, right? I mean, because he is the greatest in world match play. So it would be very similar. And especially when there's a cool $1 million on the line, why not? Why not go for it? Right? If you got the dartboard in the basement, you like to hang out with the buddies over the weekend and toss some of those sharp darts at a wall, usually with, alcohol involved, which sounds very dangerous on the surface. That could be kind of fun. I don't know. I'm not going to watch the show, but it is interesting that we have now got to this point where we have run out of so many ideas for reality TV. We're going to say, hey, the best dart player in the world, we're going to put a bunch of average people up against him and see if he can win $1 million. So I thought that was pretty clutch. He gets his own TV show. How many dart players can say that?
Whatever happened to darts on TV?
They're still on TV.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
There's just not much TV left.
It just be like 140. You'd walk around as a kid, right? Just because darts were on TSN. That's a great impression,
by the way.
Thank you. But yeah.
I think, as I mentioned here, this reality TV show, it's going to be on Netflix. So I'm sure there's an exclusive all darts channel. If you would like to find a subscription, I'm sure I could help you out with that, Dave.
Fair.
If you really want to get into it, you want to become the biggest Luke Littler stan, I can help you out. We can make something work.
I proved a long time ago that I'm not very good at darts.
No, I know my place. I talk about sports. I don't play them.
I didn't have the attention span required, and that's kind of a key thing when you're playing darts, just so you're aware.
Yeah, and patience, which is also something I don't have. Okay.
Ever thrown a dart through a light bulb? Don't try it.
I've thrown one through a beer can?
Yeah, no. Different reaction.
Oh, this was not intentional?
Oh, no, it was just I sucked. But yeah, try explaining that to somebody's parents and tell them, I wasn't jacking around. It just occurred.
Sure. How old were you?
I don't know if I want to admit that. Probably older than
you'd like to admit. Yeah. Okay, final one is an unclutch, and this goes out to the Buffalo Bills organization here. They have new tailgating rules. Did you see this?
No. Okay, I didn't think that was where we were going here. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so just as well, their new jerseys are also atrocious, but we can't tell you all about that on radio, so I'm going to go with the new tailgating rules instead. Just as the Saskatchewan Roughriders introduced tailgating, and they're doing it so well and so right here in Saskatchewan, the Buffalo Bills organization are going the complete opposite direction. So now, tailgating rules. No food or drinks for sale in the lots. No tailgating after kickoff. So you got to pack up your stuff and get out.
Wow.
Right at kickoff, which defeats the purpose for a lot of people, I feel like, in the States who like to go to college games and NFL games and tailgate. Oftentimes, you'll run into a lot of people who don't even have tickets to the game. They're just there for the fun and the camaraderie and the partying. Only food, beverages for family. You're not allowed to share. They actually have this written in the new rules, and this is the terminology. No food or beverages are allowed to be shared unless they are with your tailgating group. Music also needs to be clean, and the lyrics need to be clean, and the music cannot be too loud. Grills 6 inches off the ground, whatever. No tents, no bottles. You want to talk about the No Fun League?
Ooh. Wow.
This is where that comes in.
Bills Mafia going to revolt.
This is the franchise fans who like to smash through tables. They jump off of vans and cars and buses into foldable tables, and now you're going to tell them, no swearing in your music. Oh, it's too loud. What? And I can't share hot dogs with my neighbor? How are you going to enforce this is my major question. Especially in Buffalo.
Good luck, yeah.
At this point, why do you even do it? Why do you even suggest this? Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. I
no,
thought that was
I'm just
unclutch.
I'm trying to grab my video from, this was a few days ago now. I don't know if you saw at the Bills' new stadium. So they have these rules, right, which are very, we'll say,
Fun.
tailgating. But they have in the new stadium a giant broken table commemorating what Bills Mafia does at said tailgates.
Stop
Yes.
it.
Yeah, they do. That's what I thought your clutch performer or unclutch was going to be.
Yeah, and
I
I
missed
grabbed
that.
this. I grabbed this from a few days ago. I'm trying to remember when exactly, but yeah,
So they have the broken foldable table installed as an art feature,
yeah.
but they're telling you to don't have too much fun in the tailgating area. What are we doing, Buffalo?
Yeah.
Come on.
I got one more quick clutch for you if you want.
Let's go.
So I just have to pull it up so I can read it here. It was, so the Milwaukee Brewers were doing a Legends game, right? Dave knows where I'm going. This is the first pitch of the Legends game, and I don't remember the audio completely, so we can explain it to those in Radioland, but here we go. So 2 feet high,
Must
2
have been
feet outside.
I knew you were going to
Yeah.
do that.
Way out
well
there.
Done. We got a
Challenges
challenge
it, goes to
here, by the
ABS.
way. These guys don't know anything about
the
the
Legends
ABS
game.
challenge.
Yeah.
The review
Let's see
comes
what
back
this result
right
is
here,
going to be. Oh,
right down the middle.
looked like a strike right down the middle. I mean, that's the way I saw it.
Call overturned.
Yes. So they use it. Obviously, was a fake, right? But it was pretty cool that they, in the Legends game.
I mean,
I thought it was hilarious.
you can't hurt their ego too much.
No.
That's a pretty good one.
Good job, Milwaukee.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, see, look at us leaving off on a high note with your clutch performer. I like it. You don't want to finish on an unclutch.
No.
It's just me taking out my aggression on the Buffalo Bills organization. Anyway, it is brought to you by Keln Solar. They can help with your livestock operations. Book now for your solar quotes for your home, your farm, your cabin. Save money with the local company Keln Solar in Lumsden. I also do want to remind you that the Rough Rider Foundation 50/50 is still good to go here if you want in on the next early bird prize. All you have to do is go to the website riders5050.ca. Early bird prize this week, and if you buy before Thursday at 10 p.m., Blue Jays weekend in Toronto for 2. So you get the flights to and from, 2 nights in a downtown hotel by Rogers Centre, and then you also get, of course, tickets to a Toronto Blue Jays game. You can also take the money, $3,600 in cash. Deadline Thursday at 10. Riders5050.ca. And if you want to join in the conversation at any point here, feel free to do so. 306-936-6262, Prairie Land Rentals. We have been asking you a little bit about the command center, the review center, if you will. Do you think it's improving the game, or do you think it's doing the opposite? So we did get a text here from Don M. And Don says command center should be for coaches challenge only, full stop. They can't be cherry picking plays and spotting the ball, it seems, whenever they feel like it. Either review every play or stay out of the game until called upon. That's an interesting take, Don.
Yeah. Is the replay center making the game better or worse?
Yes. What do you think? You can let us know.
Dave asks, yes or no question. You say yes to the 2 options. I'm here for it.
Yes. Yes or no.
Oh,
No, you can elaborate on
if
it.
you
It's
think
fine.
there should be if there's a better way to do it, why not explore it? If you think that if it's not making the game better.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we're all about here, right? At the end of the day, we all just want CFL games to be entertaining and we want them to be fair. Well, I guess it depends who you ask.
No, that's true. And I don't want this to be misconstrued in any way that I'm coming down on officials, because I have often said, and I will for the longest time, I will defend football officials, because when you're an official of a football game, the rules can change within a play, right? If there's a fumble or something, the rules change in the course of a play, not just from possession to possession. So it's not an easy job. And having been in youth sports and understanding the amount of scrutiny, and that's the wrong word, it's coaching that goes into the officials. Like, it's absolutely meticulous. And the video work that is done from the officials that try to get better. And
It's a thankless job, too.
oh yeah. And I have no illusions that they're not going to be 100%, right? Like, nobody's going to be 100%. But I'm just saying that don't take this as me saying, oh, the officials are terrible, we have to do more. This is just saying the CFL replay center interjects, and do you just think that they're interjecting at the right time? Yes or no, making the product better or not?
I don't think that it's ever going to harm. It's never going to harm a football fan to double check. At least because when you watch a football game on TV, CFL, it doesn't look as fast as it actually is on the field, and it's really hard to make those decisions in a split second. It could be a millisecond that you need to make that call. Throw your flag.
Well, and again, just to maybe to join with what Don is saying and just to build on it real quick, is the fact that Don mentions the fact that sometimes it seems arbitrary when the replay center steps in. Like if I was Mark Killam and the Edmonton Elks last week, I would have been livid on the third down play where the replay center interjected and respotted the ball short of the first down. Like, again, there wasn't a cause. I understand it was a turnover, so automatically reviewed, so on and so forth. Again, there was other times, like, and again, if you want to point to that offensive pass interference call, could somebody have looked at it? Yes, but no, neither team had a challenge left. So, again, for better, for worse, good, bad, that's what I want to know, because I don't have the answer.
Jeff from Saltcoat says, as for the reviews, they work 60% of the time, every time. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Joining the conversation. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back here in a moment. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. Monday installment of the Sports Cage is for Sask Today. The voices of Saskatchewan. Visit Sask Today, Saskatchewan's leading online news and ag sports portal as well. It's like a newspaper from the old days, but without the inky hands. All of our guests have also been joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Grab yourself some Western Pizza tonight. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Mondays for me are kind of longer days, and I really don't feel like cooking tonight, so I might have to do that. What was your go-to order again, Dave?
Number 2.
Okay, noted.
Pepperoni, bacon, mushroom.
No mushroom. Just pepper.
Okay.
Give me some good pepperoni and cheese. You know, I'm like a 5-year-old. I don't need all the fancy toppings. Western Pizza, their sauce, immaculate. Now I'm just hungry. It's almost 5 o'clock. Okay, let's go out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline and let's catch up with our boy Crofty, Dan Croft of Croft Electric. Thank you for taking the time as always, my friend. You have some fun tailgating last week? What was on the grill?
Yeah. Good afternoon. First of all, it was beautifully warm and hot, so we had the slushy machine going. It was great. It was a good time.
Okay, most important question: what color of slushies?
Barnyard recommended some of Last Mountain's raspberry lemonade. So it was an adult slushie. It was kind of a yellowy tinge. It was wonderful.
I love how you call Barney Barnyard. What?
I like how you describe your slushie as having a yellowish tinge.
He wasn't talking about yellow snow. It's fine.
I'm leaving that there. You know, we've been talking about the replay center, as you well know, Crofty, and obviously, you know, everybody would like to have a do-over one time or another when we're doing it ourselves, but when you talk about Croft Electric, first time you get it done right, you should be proud of that.
We try to do it right, do it once, and if we do have a replay center at Croft Electric as well. If there is anything minor mistakes, that's me. I come in and we help fix it. We make sure that it's done right. But like the riders, who wouldn't you want to have the ball in their hand than Harris? So we like our guys highly trained, highly skilled, and as accurate as possible.
Are you still hiring anybody right now?
What's that story you cut out on me there?
Are you still looking to bring on any more of those professionals on your team right now?
We are. We're currently still looking for a couple journey persons, either one in the construction type or service. It's funny. I was ran into a guy, kind of a one-man shop kind of guy, and he was telling me how tired he is of doing his paperwork and doing all those kind of things at night and missing his kids. And I was like, well, come work for us. We got a great team that takes all of that stuff off your plate, and probably going to end up making more per hour. So, reach out. Let's talk. There's lots we can do.
And you know what? Even if you're just looking for services on farm, home, residential, commercial, whatever it is, preferred customer program is a biggie. Make sure that you get signed up for that at croftelectric.com. And of course, you can always find everything else that we need to know on your website and by calling, right?
100%. Check us out on the www.croftelectric.com. And this big heat wave we're having is testing people's electrical. So if you're a member of that preferred program, we can have checked, making sure it's ready for this extra strain that the heat's putting on it. So get a hold of us through the web or give us a call at 306-586-1333.
Especially if you're working on any renovations right now. I know everybody says, oh yeah, we'll get to that in summer. And then before you know it, we hit the end of July and we don't know where the heck the entire summer went. So hit them up. Croft Electric. Dan Croft, thank you so much for doing this as always.
You bet. Have a great show. And I think I'm going to go get one of those Western pizzas.
I thought you were going to go get a yellow slush.
Oh, God. Bring me some pepperoni and cheese pizza, Dan.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Crofty. Of course, he's joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Maybe let's hit up that ticker here.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport, 1425 McIntyre Street, the Cooperator Center, Moose Jaw Temple Garden Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
Regina Red Sox taking on the Energy City Cactus Rats on the road just after 5:30 tonight. Moose Jaw Miller Express in Weyburn facing the Beavers, and then Medicine Hat traveling to Saskatoon for a showdown against the Berries. Major League Baseball. You got the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Washington Nationals. That game actually just got underway. I'm going to have to pop that on the TV here right away. Right-hand pitcher Scherzer on the mound for the Bluebirds on his 42nd birthday, facing his former team in the Nationals. Let me see here. Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. You have seven Saskatchewan athletes. Saskatchewan? That's a new word. I'm going to coin that phrase. Gymnast Jordan Carroll, 20-year-old from Saskatoon, just captured second gold medal at the Glasgow Games. Canada's total medal count, 17. 6 gold, 7 silver, 4 bronze right now. And let us know which CFL West Division team do you think is most likely to miss the playoffs. You can join in the conversation by texting us, as always, or you can always vote at sportscage.com right now. That's your ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport. So I was quickly put in my place here on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. We were talking about Western Pizza earlier and how the go-to for Mr. Dave Thomas here is number 2, pepperoni, bacon, mushroom. Not much of a mushroom on my pizza kind of gal, but I'm told very abruptly by Mike that I am strange. Especially when it comes to Western pizza. They pile the mushrooms on top of the sauce. You got to have mushrooms on your pizza. So, fine. For educational purposes, for research purposes, I will try a number 2 from Western Pizza. Is that fair?
Sounds like the crowd
Colson's
approves.
in. Okay. I'll try a number 2. I'll order that on my way out of here tonight. I'm Teagan Witko. Dave Thomas.
You're not going to, are you?
I might. I really don't feel like cooking. I think you're highly underestimating how much I don't want to cook tonight.
I just don't see you straying
degrees
from
out there.
pepperoni. But okay, carry on. Move on.
It's just a little mushroom. I can get it on like half.
Nothing
anyway,
to see here.
Yeah, Colson Schultz is with us, of course. We got to get to our next guest here and head out on that Western Pizza guest hotline because we don't want to keep Darian Durant waiting.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Dutch Agriculture. Price freeze on openers till end of July, plus save the freight. DutchOpeners.com. Dutch Agriculture, on farm for you.
Darian, mushrooms on pizza, yes or no?
No, I'm not a veggie guy on pizza at all. No.
Give me all the grease and all the sauce.
And carnivore. Carnivore, yeah. All meat.
See, I can dig it. I could share a pizza with Darian. I like it. Well, let's talk a little bit of football here. It feels like it was forever ago last Thursday, opening game, week 8, CFL, and what a thriller that was. Such a highly entertaining game, Darian. Obviously did not go the way of the Riders, but what stood out to you?
Well, I was questioning Edmonton coming into this game, right? I mean, you look at the first 2 games of the season, it was raining. Games could go either way when there's inclement weather. I mean, even though they beat a very, very good Montreal team, they jumped out 2-0, and then they went out to BC, I think, and they lost. So I was kind of up in the air as to how good they are, and then they come back home and they struggle against BC. Even though they win, I think the game was 19-17. So I was still kind of up in the air about Edmonton. So to me, this was the test. Going to Saskatchewan, first place in the division on the line. this was the test for me to see if Edmonton was for real. And they came out and they showed the entire league that they're for real. They're back. And, so for the most part, that's what stood out for me, that this Edmonton team is definitely going to be a team that you have to face and be, bring your hard hat against this team, as the season progresses.
When you look at a guy like Cody Fajardo, comes into Saskatchewan facing his ex and throws for over 500 yards, how much confidence does he have going into the rematch at Edmonton this week?
I just think it was a great game plan by this Edmonton offense. I mean, we knew that everyone would be focused on Justin Rankin. All the, every commercial you see, every headline on social media or even on SportsCenter is all about Rankin, the records that he could possibly break this season. And Edmonton came in with a completely different game plan, and that was to put the ball in the air. Of course, you have to keep the defense honest and give Justin Rankin his touches, but Edmonton had a plan. They wanted to make sure that they play action the riders and put these linebackers in situations where they had to think. And they did a great job of just confusing this rider secondary and getting some big plays off and making it tough for this rider team. So kudos to this Edmonton offense for just coming out throwing when the whole world knew that they'd be focused on Justin Rankin.
Darian, you had some pretty good running backs at your disposal in your day. Did you ever run into a situation where maybe the opposition focused too much on Corey Sheets and then let Darian Durant go off?
For sure. I mean, a record of mine that was just broken by Vernon Adams Jr. was because of Corey Sheets. He was a big part of that for sure. I mean, teams had to focus on the run game. They had to load the box, and that allowed me to get one-on-one matchups on the outside and be able to capitalize on that. So whenever you have a dynamic running back like that, it's kind of like, what do you do? Do you focus in on him, or do you let him get his and make sure that the quarterback beats you? So you could see that this game was all about Rankin, and Cody Fajardo came out and showed that he could put the ball in the air and beat a good defense through the air.
So if you're the Saskatchewan Roughriders going through film study this weekend, getting ready to play the same opponent, is it an advantage going back-to-back so that you can go ahead and maybe exercise some of the demons? And number two, what did you see and what do you fix immediately if you can?
Well, first and foremost, you can't give up the big play. One of the big plays to Austin Mack was off of play action. Guys had their eyes in the backfield, and he was running down the field wide open. And I think that another thing, the linebackers have to get a lot better in their drops and coverage. A couple late throws down the field that kept drives alive for Edmonton was right behind the linebackers and on that second level. So I think for the Riders, it's all about your eyes. It's all about fundamentals and making sure that you're in the right place in your drops. You're not letting the play action or any of these other things deceive you and put you in situations where you can give up 80-yard touchdowns. So I think it's more mental for the Riders. Offensively, you can see, they did their thing. Trevor had over 380, 4 touchdown passes. So offensively, you kind of want to build on what you were doing, but defensively, you have to correct your eyes and put your head and your eyes in the right position so you don't give up these big plays.
As a player, you're never going to want to look back on things like that offensive pass interference call and blame that, point to that as being the reason why you lost the game, right? But from Darian Durant's perspective, as a fan, watching that play out, do you think the refs got it right?
No, I don't think so. This is the big boy league, right? You have to let the guys play. A little bit of hand fighting. It's something that they've been doing pretty much all game. So I don't like the call right there. I think it was very minimal contact between these two. And I think it was a bailout call for sure.
Roland Milligan Jr. was back. First game and quite a few weeks after battling that injury. Now, we were talking about a post game. There only one defensive tackle on the score sheet, but he was all over the field. How much does one elite defensive back change the complexion of a defense, especially now that he's going to have a game under his belt?
Yeah, it's great to have him back on the field. He kind of got his feet back wet a little bit, getting hurt so early in the season. So it's still kind of like opening week for him when he's playing. So it's great to have him back out there. You need that veteran leadership that he provides. And, I think that once they get in the film room and he can lead the meeting since he's the vet back there, he can tell these guys what to see, him and Tavon Campbell. I think this more so needs to be a player-led meeting, because these are just mistakes that the guys made themselves. I don't think that coaching was the problem. I just think the guys kind of just had their, like I said, eyes in the wrong place, and it's just mental errors that caused them to give up some of these big plays.
Last week you talked about the play action pass and the intricacies that there are when Trevor Harris goes play action and has made some mistakes this year because he has to take his eyes off the coverage. Cody Fajardo looked like he had mastered that last week. Am I wrong in that assessment?
For sure. And I think Justin Rankin is the major reason that, this play action works so well. When you have a guy like that, that's, like I said, that's so dynamic, you have to know where he is. You have to anticipate, especially on first down or second and short situations, you have to anticipate that he's going to get the ball, and he's just a big play waiting to happen. So I think that the guys just got caught up in some of these situations where they just, they guess wrong. And that's going to happen sometimes. But when you guess wrong, you just can't give up such a huge play. And, those are backbreakers, man. And I think the Riders are saying in the meeting room that if they could take away some of these big plays and make Cody march up and down the field, put some hits on him, then they give themselves a better chance moving forward.
In listening to Cody Fajardo, it seems to me like he's got something to prove every time that he plays, because what is it? The old, I don't get no respect, right? Yeah. I don't know why he doesn't get respect. And is that sustainable to play with something to prove every time you step on the field?
I mean, look, the greatest player ever in the game of basketball, Michael Jordan, used to just find reasons to throw a chip on his shoulder, right? Sometimes you need that motivation. And it just seems like Cody's one of those guys. I mean, once he got let go in Saskatchewan, he went over to Montreal and won a Grey Cup and showed that he should be a starter. And then for him to get let go by Montreal and now he's in Edmonton, I mean, he definitely has a chip on his shoulder. He definitely has two organizations that he wants to, show that they made the wrong decisions. And, sometimes you need those type of little things to point at, or little things that you could think of and you can put in the back of your head that can give you that extra fire, so to speak, when you go out there. So motivation is definitely a real thing. And, he's right. He's been doubted everywhere he's been, and teams have thrown him away. And all he's done is just win games and win big games and win Grey Cups and just win more games. So that's Cody, man. And he's done a great job for Edmonton. And, just looking forward to see how this season progresses for him.
Last week, we spent some time, Darian, talking about the mental component heading into this game, of course, coming off of that tragedy last week. And there was certainly a heavy air surrounding the Saskatchewan Roughriders heading into this one. But then you have this shootout, this back and forth game. It was highly entertaining football, and they only lose by 2 points. So I'm curious, they're going to correct the mistakes, at least they're going to try to. But what's harder when you have a back-to-back opponent here, a narrow loss or getting blown out?
Look, man, it's so tough in these back-to-backs. And, if you're the home team, you just feel like you need to win your part of the back-to-back at home, because it's so hard to go on the road and win. I mean, I think back to my times in the Labor Day Classic and some of the few other back-to-backs that we've had. You always want to get that home game. So it's going to be a lot tougher going out to Edmonton. I think we'll probably get one of these old school, 30 to 40,000 in attendance at Commonwealth, one of these, big time crowds. Edmonton's on fire right now. It's a great game for the CFL, but it's going to be tough for the Riders going on the road this week, especially after losing such a heartbreaking game. And Edmonton's going to be fired up. They know their fans are going to be there in support, and it's going to be tough to go out there and win.
I know the answer you have to give is that no game is any more important than any other in the regular season. But this game at Edmonton, the Riders right now are 4 points back of the Elks with a game in hand. This could determine the season series if Edmonton wins. So is this a must-win game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders when it comes to like a home playoff spot or a West Division final bye?
Oh man, you hate to say must win so early in the season, but I mean it's a very, very, very important. I think that this is the biggest game to date for the Riders. You don't want to let Edmonton go up, on another 2 points, and you just have to look at Calgary and how they're kind of creeping up a little bit, and Winnipeg's right there as well. So you have to look at these other teams in the division. You can't just, of course, you need to focus on Edmonton. It's the next game, but you have to look at how these other teams are playing. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're in these must-win games against teams that are hot, quarterbacks that are hot at the moment. So, it's as close to a must-win game as you could call it at this point in the season.
How many wrinkles can you add? How many tendencies can you adjust going back to back?
You know what? It's going to be tough, man. I think with AJ Ouellette being out, we'll see how the running game goes. But Edmonton's going to try to make sure that Trevor doesn't get these big plays as well, that they can kind of keep everything in front of them, make tackles, and make the Riders march the field. So, I don't think there'll be much you can do game plan wise that you can change. I think it's just going to be man to man, the team that makes the fewest mistakes, the team that takes care of the ball. And, this game showed how important special teams is as well. This Edmonton defense forced the Riders to a huge missed field goal in the fourth quarter. And Edmonton's kicker did his part, and he made every kick, including the game winner. So I think when you talk about fundamentals, you talk about how each and every game could come down to the last play, or how important each play is. I think that's the case for this game more so than switching up the X's and O's.
So maybe we should talk about a few other West Division teams here before we got to let you go, Darian. Calgary, Winnipeg. Big road win for Calgary in that one, 52-30. I guess what stood out to me was looking at Drew Brown, another chance to show that he can lead Winnipeg, and then they take the loss on the chin. He throws 4 interceptions. What are you seeing in his game?
Yeah. This is what we've seen from Drew Brown. He'll wow you some games. He'll come out and he'll throw for over 400 and he'll take care of the ball. And then the very next week, he'll give you 4 interceptions. I think if you're Winnipeg, what you want from him is just consistency. You don't want, especially with the way Willie Jefferson's playing, the defense is doing okay, but you just can't turn the ball over and give a good team like Calgary so many extra opportunities. So I think if he can take care of the ball, especially with this veteran, how this team is veteran led, take care of the ball, punt when you have to, then you give yourself a chance. Winnipeg is a very, very fundamental team. So turnovers are killed them.
If you're analyzing Chase Bryce's performance for the BC Lions, he's been in their system for 3 years, finally gets the chance to start. What did you see from him in that performance this week against Toronto?
If you're BC, you have to be, ready to put the needle in Nathan Rourke and get him back on the field. You see some flashes here, there, but there's just no consistency. And, before this season gets out of hand and BC doesn't even have an opportunity, something has to change. You have to start putting some points on the board. The defense can't, you can't look for the defense to score and win you games as well. So if you're BC, you have to be looking at what other guys are available, or how soon can Nathan Rourke get back to save your season, because it could get out of hand pretty quickly here moving forward.
Hamilton Tiger Cats seem to be feeling that pressure as well. Trey Ford got the start and managed the game, I would suggest, for a while. What do you do if you're the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Trey Ford?
You just have to keep pushing with Trey Ford. Look, you lost to Montreal, and we all know how hard it is to play in that stadium. So, I wouldn't overreact if I'm Hamilton. I don't think this is. I think this would have been a tough game, even if Bo Levi Mitchell was there for them to win on the road. So, just keep putting your head down, keep moving forward. Keep practicing, keep learning from your mistakes, and just keep getting better if you Trey Ford. Bo won't be back anytime soon. So, you don't have to really look over your shoulder. Just go out there and just try to get better each and every week.
I guess the follow-up question to that is, if you're Scott Milanovich, do you tailor your offense and change it for Trey Ford, or do you encourage Trey Ford to change his style to play your system, which you're confident will work?
No, at this point in time, Trey Ford is who he is, right? So if you're Scott Milanovich, you have to kind of cater to his abilities, his strengths. Don't try to put him in situations where he has to sit back there and throw the ball across the middle of the field or make these tight throws into windows. You want to get him outside the pocket and make the game a lot easier for him where he can use his legs and, use his ability to be elusive out there. So I think, like I said, this is a Montreal team that a lot of teams in the league won't beat at home. So I wouldn't overreact, just learn from it. You're going to see this team again. So, just try not to make the mistakes and keep the game close and give yourself a chance to win at the end.
I don't know if you remember these days or not, Darian, but there were times when the offensive line would struggle in front of you, and Rider Nation the odd time would suggest that perhaps Darian should go on rollouts all the time because that's what's going to make us successful. I don't know if that ever happened or not, but that can't be sustainable, can it? If you're just going to consistently move and change that launch point?
No, it's not something that you want to be doing long term. I think for him, it's about being in better situations, no second and long situations, being in situations where you can predict man-to-man coverage or zero coverage from the defense. So I think a lot more first down success for Hamilton would help Trey Ford out. I think that putting him in situations where he doesn't have to read the entire field, he can kind of break the field down in half and work some one-on-one matchups. I think those are the things that he can excel at. So, Noah Thorpe, this Montreal team, they made it tough for him. I think they'll make it tough for everyone they play against. But moving forward, you can't just roll out and just be a sprint out passer in the CFL. Teams are too good for that, right? Defensive coordinators are too savvy. But I think that being in better situations on second down can make it a lot easier for him to convert. And then you can keep the chains moving, and then you can take your shots down the field. He has an excellent deep ball. So I think that in order to exploit that, you have to make sure you're in situations where you know what coverage is coming.
True or false that quarterbacks that are mobile in the CFL sometimes pre-snap know they're running before the ball is even snapped to them?
Well, I wouldn't say pre-snap. I think you would say, okay, now if once I get a clear indication that I have a certain coverage that I know I can take off, or the linebackers may be out of the middle of the field, then I'll run. Kind of sort of like I did in 2013, knowing that I'm going to drop back and run because of the coverage that they're playing. So I think you don't predetermine, but once you assess the defense and you know what's going on, then you can say, okay, I'm tucking this ball and I'm running with it.
Predictions for game of the week here. I'm looking at the schedule, Darian. You got BC, Winnipeg, Montreal, Ottawa, Calgary, Hamilton, obviously Saskatchewan, Edmonton. What do you think is going to be the barn burner this week?
Well, you have to go back to and talk about the rematch of Edmonton, Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan's going to be hungry. And like we talked about earlier in the segment, they can't get down 2 more points in the division. So they're going to be fired up. I think last week the league, if they knew Edmonton would be this good, they would have moved this to a Friday or a Saturday game. So, with that being said, this is definitely the game of the week, and looking forward to another good one.
So are you saying, Darian, that the Elks playing on Thursday nights a lot of the time may have something to do with the league?
I think you said that. Well, we know how it goes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I will be enjoying my carnivore pizza watching the game. I hope you do the same thing, Darian. We'll catch up again next week. Thanks for this.
Okay, sounds good.
Of course, that is Darian Durant joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline, as he does every Monday. Oh, we love chopping it up with Darian. Of course, Western Pizza, perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Joining the conversation anytime by texting us as well on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but we are playing Sastal Pick the Score today, so this might be only one of 2 opportunities for you to get entered. We want you to pick the score for this upcoming weekend's game. Saskatchewan, Edmonton. Who's going to be taking this one? 306-936-6262. You can text us on that Prairie Land Rentals text line. Give us your score prediction and your name. If we do not have your name, it makes it very difficult for Colson to reach out to you or declare a winner if he doesn't know who the tickets are belonging to, because that's what you get. Tickets to the next Rider home game plus a $200 SaskTel gift card. So we're going to make that draw at the end of the show here today, which is in about 30 minutes time, 29 minutes and 10 seconds. So 306-936-6262. I can do math, see? Don't give
I
me
just
that
thought
look.
you were really looking forward to that pizza. It had a countdown timer going.
My stomach is grumbling a little bit. Just a little bit. Carnivore pizza sounds so good. Again, if you want to win, prediction score, $200 for SaskTel, as well as tickets to the next Rider home game, text us 306-936-6262. We're going to take a quick break because we got to come back and get our next guest ready to rock and roll here with your Regina Red Sox report. Hang tight. It's the Sports Cage. It's on the home of Rider Nation on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. Monday edition of the Sports Cage is, of course, brought to you by Sask Today, Saskatchewan's leading online news, egg, and sports portal. Make sure that you hit it up, sasktoday.ca. Get all the latest news and information that you need. Okay, I understand that we actually have someone on the Western Pizza guest hotline before we get to our next scheduled guest. Let's head out and say hello. Hi, who's this?
Hi, this is Dawson.
Hi, Dawson. Thanks for calling us. I understand that you have a connection to a player in the CFL.
Yes, I believe it's Tyrell Ford, who plays defense for the Edmonton Elks.
Okay. Are you from Edmonton? Or where are you
from?
from?
I'm from Niagara Falls, Ontario, and I live in Toronto.
Small world. So I bet you were cheering for the Elk over the weekend then, not the Riders?
Oh, well, I like the CFL. I guess I'd probably like the Toronto a bit more. But I know that the Edmonton Elks are going to play against the Rough Riders, and I just wanted to join the conversation and tell a little story, if I can.
Sure, yeah.
So I used to go to St. Paul High School, and they were the rivals for the Ann Meyer, and that's where Trey and Tyrell started in football in high school. And when I watched them play, they had like a telepathic connection to each other, and I mean they're just all around great football players.
And that's, why do you say a telepathic connection?
Well, sometimes they would have to play on the same line together, or if they throw the ball to each other, they just know exactly what play to do and what play to execute. And even if they make a play and they get tackled down, they go for it. They have that almost a certainty of playing the play to a T, whether or not they make it.
Well, they could be dangerous on the same CFL team, that's for sure. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, and the Tyrell on defense, I've seen him. He's smoked a few players. I mean, he's quite an explosive player, and watching him progress all the way from there to the big leagues was great to see.
Yeah, it's really cool, especially when you can cheer on those players, especially when you got to know them personally. Well, thank you so much for calling. Really appreciate that. Glad to hear that we have a listener out in Niagara Falls. So thanks for catching up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me join the conversation, and let's go Rough Riders.
Hey, I like that.
Go.
Might be near the Toronto Stadium, but we're cheering for the Riders out there in Niagara Falls. Really appreciate that. Thank you for the call. Of course, the Western Pizza guest hotline, 306-936-6262. That's a number you can text us at as well. If you'd ever like to join in the conversation, Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. So we're getting you ready for your Red Sox report. Are we ready to rock and roll? Oh, okay. Look at that. Joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline, Dante De Caria.
Boys of Summer. Time for another edition of the SportsCage Regina Red Sox Report on 620 CKRM. Brought to you by Unifor 594. Energy Workers. Putting the care in career since 1942. Safety is our business.
Hey, there's Dante De Caria, communications for the Regina Pats, play-by-play voice on this very station, of course, during the season. And, of course, you do communications as well for the Regina Red Sox now. So appreciate you taking the time, Dante.
Teagan, thank you so much for having me. Dave, how are you?
Things are good. Probably not as busy as you right now, as it's an exciting time for the Sox, huh?
It's an exciting time for the Sox. Obviously, my baseball season coming to an end. Dave, unfortunately, we actually lost in the U13 AAA final yesterday. So little bittersweet end to our season before provincials. But the Red Sox are playing some really good baseball right now. Unfortunately, tonight's game in Energy City was canceled due to field conditions. They still have a couple of more games left on that Alberta road trip before they come back home for the final, week stretch of the season. But they're in a pretty good spot right now, Dave and Teagan. They're currently sitting, third in the Eastern Division standings. The top four make the playoffs, and you never know what happens in a best 2 out of 3 series, right?
Well, and that's just it, right? We're right down to the wire here. We're getting awfully close to what is always a very quick season. They've battled through some ups and downs this year, though, Dante. What do you think has been the reason that they've been able to stay in the hunt here in terms of the playoff race?
Well, I mean, obviously, hats off goes out to Rai Pathakos and what he did for the organization over the last, several years, 11 seasons as the director of recruiting, brought in a ton of really good players that went on to move on and play professional baseball, and, brought a championship home to Regina, the third in franchise history last year. They had a really good run towards the end of the season. But I think a new voice and the coaching change probably has a little bit to do with that, to be quite honest with you, Teagan and Dave. Zane, Jackson Alaniz, and obviously Cobb as the interim manager have really added a kind of a little bit of a different perspective for the group right now. And they're playing some really good baseball. This was a team that really struggled on the pitching side of things. I always felt that was their Achilles heel. Defensively, the team had not played well for the majority of the season, and they had problems driving in guys when they were on base. Most times, every night, when you look at the box score, they were stranding upwards of 10 to 12 to 13 or even sometimes 14 or 15 runners on base throughout the game. So a lot of opportunities left stranded over the course of the season. They're now playing, some hit and run. They're moving guys over with less than 2 outs when they have to. They're playing winning baseball right now, and they're getting contributions from throughout the lineup. So
is that your cat that just knocked over a cup?
How'd you know?
A lucky guess. Sorry,
yeah, one of them was just on my lap right now. So if they start meowing, Teagan, I apologize.
I have 2 of my own, so that's probably it. Was my my cat sense. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Dante.
No, Teagan, honestly, they're playing some good baseball right now. They're playing winning baseball.
So when you look at the schedule here to round out the season as well, Dante, I mean, they've had a pretty even split, and they haven't had, a lengthy road swing like this. How nice is that for the guys to be able to get onto the road, 8-game swing, and then they come back to basically finish off the regular season this weekend?
Well, I don't think the weekend's going to be easy at all. They've got, 7 games this weekend. They've got a handful of doubleheaders against Weyburn and Saskatoon. The Weyburn doubleheader might determine on, which one of those teams makes the playoffs, because Medicine Hat is right in the thick of things as well. And I guess we can't count out the Swift Current 57s. And it's clear that, Saskatoon and Moose Jaw are battling for 1 and 2 in the Eastern Division standings. But yeah, the weekend coming back from this road trip does not get any easier at all. You got to take on Weyburn. You got to play a really good Saskatoon team as well before the regular season comes to an end. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Dante, it's interesting when you look at the standings. There is definitely some groupings and some teams that are out in front, but that really in no way indicates what you're going to see every night. Like Swift Current yesterday, after Moose Jaw rattles off 14, 15 wins in a row, then Swift Current comes out and they've bat the ball around the ballpark. Like, what does that speak to this league and the teams that are in this division?
Yeah, Swift Current's a sneaky team. They can really hit. I mean, they have the top 2 home run leaders in Jake Hiramoto and Keegan Noller on their team. Noller has, I believe, 14 home runs, and Hiramoto just set the single-season WCBL home run record with his 21st of the season last night, and now 68 RBIs this year. And for context, that's 10 more home runs, and I believe 15 more RBIs than Regina Red Sox team leader in those departments in Brady Bai, who has 11 home runs and I believe 53 RBIs this season. So Swift Current's a good team. They're sneaky. They do lack pitching depth, which is why they've given up so many runs over the course of the season. I think that's kind of speaks to why their record is what it is. But they can really hit the ball. They have some depth up front offensively. They make good plays in the field as well. They can run the bases. But one of the reasons why Moose Jaw is just such a good team this year is they have good pitching led by Weston Walls, their ace. And of course, Thomas Soto leading the league in steals, gets on base. It seems like everybody on that team can just run. They're a real scrappy team. They don't have anybody over like 5 home runs this year. So they're not a team that really kind of hits the ball out of the ballpark, like say the Red Sox, like Brady with 11 home runs and Jalen Meyer with 6 as an example. And obviously Ian Montz has come back and, he's brought some power to the team as well. So yeah, I think it's going to come down to pitching, to be quite honest with both of you guys. If the Red Sox pitching staff can hold up, if Crabtree can do his job, if Baker can get right back on the right foot, and Gordon can do his job in the bullpen, and Hahn can keep pitching well, and Sam Jackson had a really good game in Fort Mac with 7 scoreless innings, then this team has a chance.
It was almost a full calendar year. If you rewind almost 365 days, that was when the Regina Red Sox went on a little bit of a run, heated up, and they didn't cool off for the remainder of the season. Are there signs that that's going to happen again?
I guess that remains to be seen. It's weird. The baseball gods, they work in different ways. And I've always said this, hockey's a different sport where you can kind of predict on who's going to win every single night for the most part. But in baseball, especially in a best 2 out of 3 series in the playoffs, you just never know. You win game 1, you throw all your eggs in one basket in game 1, and you get a pitcher that gets hot, or maybe the bats go cold at the wrong time, and all of a sudden, like the Red Sox had last year, they finished just 2 games over 500 in the regular season. Well, they go on an amazing postseason run and win the WCBL championship over Sylvan Lake, a very good team in their own right, who beat Okotoks in the Western Final on the other side. So, it's interesting. I think this team is playing their best baseball at the right time because they're doing the little things right. You're starting to see the team bunt to move guys over, runner at second, less than 1 out. Obviously, with no outs, you move the guy over to third. They're putting balls in play a little bit more. This was a team that tended to strike out a lot, especially with runners in scoring position. And when you've got runners on second and third and you got less than 2 outs, you got to put a ball in play and hit the ball in the air or get a ball on the ground to score at least 1 run versus just striking out. So I think the team is starting to play less selfishly, if that makes sense. And they're just trying to get on base any way they can.
So, of course, a couple more games to go on the road here for the Regina Red Sox, and then they're going to be back at Curry Field for a few, so people should definitely hit that up starting Friday, what you mentioned with that doubleheader. Is there going to be any line dancing like we saw in Moose Jaw?
Yeah, honestly, I saw that on Instagram the other day, and I was quite confused. Do you know where that came from?
Not a clue. I feel like I should know because I brought it up, and I think it was like a Savannah Bananas thing. I thought it was fun. You could teach him how to line dance, Dante, can't you?
I've never line danced in my life. Honestly, like I watched it like 3-4 times and then scrolled past it and then went like back up again, and I was like, what is going on?
I mean, hey, the Savannah Bananas, I can't say that team name very well, but they look the same, similar colors, so maybe there's some sort of correlation there. I don't know, but it's a lot of fun, and you might as well try it out. Put in a good word, okay? We'll try to help them. But since we do have you, I know this is the Regina Red Sox report, but obviously you being the play-by-play voice with the Regina Pats, I did just want to quickly ask you before we have to let you go. Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh, 2 of the youngest players invited to Canada's U18 selection camp. What does that say about the impact that they've had here in hockey, especially in Regina with the Pat Canadians and, of course, the Regina Pats?
Well, I mean, they won 2 championships last year, lost in the TELUS Cup. That's Liam Pugh and Maddox Schultz, of course, winning, the Saskatchewan Male AAA Hockey League Championship and then winning Western Regionals as well. They're just exceptional players. Not surprised that they got invited to the Hlinka Gretzky camp. I'm pretty convinced and pretty confident that they'll be on the team. They're just so good. I haven't seen them obviously this summer, but not surprised. And not to say that there's a coincidence, but Al Miller, who's the GM of Hockey Canada, the program of excellence, drafted these 2 players with the Regina Pats, traded to get the Liam Pugh pick at number 3 last draft. Not surprised that they're invited to this camp and have continued to get invited to all these camps with the connection that they have with Al Miller. But great opportunity for them to represent their country, in the month of August, and let's see what they can do.
Hey, I'm ready for hockey to come back. I'm sure you are too. I know that you love, spending time coaching and on the baseball diamond, but what does your life kind of look like now as we get closer and closer to training camp for the Regina Pats?
Unfortunately, Teagan, you won't see me at the ballpark this weekend. I have to go home to Ottawa for my best friend's wedding. We've known each other since we were 3 years old, and his soon-to-be wife since I was 5 years old.
I guess that's a good okay excuse.
Yeah. So looking forward to going back home and visiting my family, starting on Wednesday and, attending the wedding on Saturday. And then I'll be back for the playoffs, the last couple games of the regular season for the Red Sox. And then it's, gearing up for Pat's season in the month of August, with the Red Sox season kind of winding down. And then, on a personal note, obviously going to continue to coach baseball as I do throughout the off season as well. We've got my fall travel team starting up. The Pinguinos starting up in the month of August, so looking forward to getting back with the group. We've got a couple of tournaments coming up in the month of September. Actually, really looking forward to working with the new Pats head coach, Dave Bell's son, Nolan Bell, currently one of the top youth baseball players in Ontario. He's now moving to Saskatchewan. Looking forward to getting to work with him. He's a really good pitcher, really good baseball player, and Dave and I have connected, and looking forward to working with him over the course of the fall as well.
I know we do Clutch Performer after 4:30, but quickly before we do let you go, is a parent that's kids have benefited tremendously from people like yourself that volunteer time with youth. Thank you for doing that for kids. And again, I know it's a thankless job sometimes as a coach, but to all coaches and you, Dante, again, thanks for doing that for our kids, to get them out on fields, socializing, and again, just letting them be kids. So thank you.
Dave, I really appreciate that. It means a lot. Obviously you go through those ups and downs over the course of the season. Parents aren't too happy with you, playing time, all that kind of stuff. It happens to everyone. But really proud of, myself and what I've been able to do over the last couple of years, and looking forward to continuing to build my coaching resume.
Well, appreciate all that you do, Dante, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on with us. We were going to dive into, the whole MLB trade deadline and the woes of the Jays, but you know what? We'll end it on a positive note.
Leave it while we're positive.
Yeah.
Are they trading Kevin Gausman? We don't know.
We'll see. He doesn't want to go, but he's probably on his way out. We'll find out on Monday next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Dante. Thanks for this. Of course, Dante De Caria, play-by-play voice of your Regina Pats right here on 620 CKRM. He also does communications for the Regina Red Sox, and he was there with your Red Sox report, brought to you by Unifor Local 594. We appreciate his time as always. Do we want to jump into our sprinkle of the day? No, we're going to take a break first. See, I can follow instructions. We'll be right back. It's a Sports Cage, and it's streaming on 620 CKRM and sportscage.com. Well, you heard Dante mention it earlier. Due to field conditions, the Regina Red Sox will not be facing the Energy City Cactus Rats tonight. That game is postponed. However, the Moose Jaw Miller Express, they are going to be they are heading to, the Weyburn Beavers. In southern Saskatchewan, their Medicine Hat Mavericks taking on the Saskatoon Berries. MLB regular season right now, you do have the Jays taking on the Nationals. And right now, Toronto's actually up 2-1. Top of the fourth, one runner on.
Scherzer's out of the game, though.
Yeah.
Schneider came to the mound to ask him, and you could read lips. Max Scherzer says, I think I'm done.
Well, call it when you have to call it, right?
That's
right. Jackson Koivu won the 3M Open in his third professional start. The 21-year-old held off number one Scotty Scheffler with a win over the weekend. Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. There are 7 athletes, 1 coach, and 3 support staff members with ties to Saskatchewan. And Jordan Carroll, a gymnast, 20 years old from Saskatoon, captured their second gold in men's pommel horse title. So Canada's medal count now 17, 6 gold, 7 silver, 4 bronze. And we want to know, which CFL West Division team do you think is most likely to miss the playoffs? Let us know by voting at SportsCage.com. Of course, you can join in the conversation, 306-936-6262, which is the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Final call here for you to send in your pick the score guesses. So if you want an opportunity to win tickets to the next home game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders here at Mosaic Stadium, text us your score prediction along with your name for a chance to win tickets to the next home game, along with a $200 SaskTel gift card. 306-936-6262. So we almost got a caller here, gentlemen. I'm Teagan Witko, Dave Thomas, Colson Schultz with us. Before we do that, though, we gotta check out your sprinkle of the day. What are we going to sprinkle on? All you have to do, if you want to play along, by the way, join us on the YouTube feed or sportscage.com. You can also just go to the website, sportsselect.com. Super easy. Make your picks online. You generate a QR code. You bring it into your local Lotto Spot retailer. 100% legal. You got a chance of winning cash in hand. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Just have to be 18 plus and you got to play responsibly. Love it. So maybe we should look. What do we want to look at today, Dave? I'm wondering if we go CFL or do we want to look at some baseball?
I'd love to see the CFL futures.
Okay, so maybe let's look at what is in store in terms of the odds here for Week 9 in the CFL. Starting off with the Lions and Bombers Pro Line. Ooh, I don't know if I like that action. BC 360.
Ooh, in Winnipeg, right? Winnipeg has
Winnipeg?
struggled at home a little bit this year. Keep that in mind.
Very true.
54.5 the over-under with Drew Brown and...
I feel like I was actually right on this last week on the Rider Nation pregame show. Everybody, I think Barney said 5 people is who he asked. Everybody took the under. I took the over. And guess what?
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
Nice work.
Mm-hmm. I was wrong on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't actually sprinkle. But here, I might take the under on this one.
Yeah.
I feel like that one's going to be a little bit of a sloppier game. So yeah, some decent dealings there. So if you're to look at the under on that one, Alouettes, Red Blacks, obviously Montreal is the favorite.
Do you ever just think, Ottawa isn't going to go 0-18?
And it is.
Do you ever just think in Ottawa? It's in Ottawa. Do you ever just think that maybe?
Never say never.
I saw someone on the CFL Reddit, an Ottawa fan, asking, if we go 0-18, can we be like Cleveland and get a parade?
I mean, at that point, you kind of have to. I mean, if you were to maybe put a little sprinkle town on Ottawa, and you hit.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying they have to win sooner or later.
The over under on that, by the way, 61.5.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's not gonna happen.
That's not happening. Absolutely not. Stamps, Ticats. This one, I think. Oh, that's a hard one. Again, over under 60.5. And then you have Calgary as the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would probably take Calgary on that one. But okay, finally, and then we got to go. Riders, Elk. Of course, you got Edmonton as the favorite by only a point. So
take the tie. Pull a Barney.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's boring.
If it's a 1-point game, that's your best odds right there.
But you know what? That would mean I would have to go back on my word because remember me saying how much I hate ties once they announced that they were no longer going to be doing ties in the CFL? I refuse. I will not take a tie. So I'm not sprinkling on that. Dang it. Okay, that's enough from me. We got to leave. We got to get out of here. On behalf of myself, Dave Thomas, Colson Schultz, thank you very much for coming along for the ride. We are saying goodnight from the corner of 12th and Rose from the Sports Cage studio. And we're streaming, of course, at sportscage.com and 620 CKRM.